Hey there, all you cool, epic, and awesome fans, followers, and listeners. Welcome to episode 50 of the Cool, Epic, Awesome podcast. My name is Matt, and I'm your co host.
I'm your other co-host, Joe.
I can't believe we made it to 50.
That is that is wild.
It's actually insane. That means we started like almost 2 years ago at this point, right? Because it's 2 weeks between episodes. But
Sure.
yeah, who would have thought we'd still be standing here at this point?
When we
Not
start
me.
2022?
I think the first movie we ever did was The Black Phone.
Black Phone, yeah.
So whenever that came out, but yeah, there's an exciting episode coming your way today, for episode 50. We got three pretty great films to talk about. I think we're basically positive on all three of them.
Yeah.
The first was a Netflix release, actually, which was the movie Hitman, starring Glenn Powell, directed by Richard Linklater. And then we also saw Inside Out 2 in theaters. Hold on, Joe, can you hear me? My laptop is... Sorry about that. Yeah. No, something just popped up on my laptop.
No.
Anyways, yeah, sorry about that. Inside Out 2, which is obviously the sequel to Inside Out. Pixar's big film that made a shit ton of money, which we'll talk about when we discuss that. And then Joe recommended last week for us to talk about the first Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's / Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live. It was really interesting to check that one out again. It was funny. But yeah, we'll save that one for last. I guess to start things off, we could go into Hitman. I mentioned already it released on Netflix, but it originally was supposed to release last year.
I didn't know that.
It did festivals last year, and there was a lot of buzz around it. But then I guess because of the writer's strike and they couldn't advertise it, they pushed it.
Yeah, they pushed it back.
That kind of makes sense because they had this big like advertising push for it, I feel like.
Yeah, and especially with how popular Glenn Powell is right now.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And going into the film, I kind of expected it to just be like Glenn Powell actually is a hitman, and it's just going to be, like a stupid action comedy, but just he's the lead, so that's what would be the draw. Yeah. But it was like a lot more complex than that. And I actually really like the direction that it went in.
A lot of psychological themes.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, the story follows this guy who's into tech. He's a professor, but he's into like technology. And on the side, he helps. What is it? The FBI or
no, the police?
Maybe just the police. He helps the police basically, set up like these sting operations to catch people who are trying to hire hitmen. So he helps, set up the cameras and get the microphones working, like all the technical stuff. Then one day he has to go in and actually do the sting operation and pretend to be a hitman. But what makes it funny is that he's this tech nerd. He's like, he has these big glasses. He's like kind of goofy. He's awkward. Then when he has to step up, he just like locks in and does like the perfect hitman impression.
Yeah.
And I think playing around with that idea led for like a very fun story. The movie's very energetic. It's just, I don't know, it's like a lot of fun to just watch.
Oh yeah, no, and honestly, the two leads have really good chemistry, I think, as well.
Yeah, that actress is actually from Morbius.
Oh yeah, she plays
Morbiette.
Morbiette. Now that you say that, I didn't realize that until now.
Yeah, she was good though.
Yeah.
The one thing I mentioned to you, I'm forgetting the actor's name now. I'm gonna look it up, but
the other cop guy,
the guy who
plays kind of villain.
Yeah, he plays basically the antagonist of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. As the movie got on, he kind of grew on me. He was a really good character.
Yeah, Austin Emilio. People might know him from The Walking Dead. He plays Dwight. He has this character. He's this character who's like half his face is burnt off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's kind of, like the guy Negan.
Yeah.
He like burnt half his face off or something, just to like fuck with him. Yeah. But yeah, I hadn't seen him in anything else, but he really kind of like stole the show for me in this movie.
Yeah.
As much as Glenn Powell was great, him as the antagonist was just like a lot of fun. see,
Yeah.
especially those scenes at the end where he has what's the girl's name? Madison.
Oh yeah, Madison.
He has her in her house, like, and he's drinking beers, and he's like, "Oh, you want a beer?" Like, to Gary, and
Yeah.
just, I don't know, just like that little performance he put on there, I really enjoyed. He's
Yeah.
kind of like a twist villain. You don't really see that
Yeah. He's not. I
necessarily
mean, like
coming.
he's. Yeah.
The only thing I'll say, one of the negatives that I had about the film is I feel like the plot did get a little bit floppy, like a little convoluted
Yeah.
as it
Towards
went
the
on.
end, I feel like.
There's just like too many things like holding this story together, that to the point that it starts to like not
Fall
make as much
apart.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall, I really did enjoy it. I don't know. I feel like that idea of the
Well.
fake hitman just led to like so many interesting scenarios.
Yeah. Especially like, I mean, we didn't even talk about like, so basically at one point, we didn't even really explain what happened. So at one point he goes in for another stink thing, and it's a woman, and he kind of convinces her not to go through with it, and then he basically ends up dating her, and the story just kind of follows like his life getting entwined with basically the hitman quote unquote life.
Yeah, and it's like when he's the hitman, what was his name again? Was
Uh,
it? I know Gary's his real name, but what is like the hit?
Ron,
Yeah, Ron. So Ron is like the cool, um, like
kind of
persona that Gary
bad.
puts
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
He's like a badass guy, and he dates Madison as Ron. So every time he hangs out with her, he like puts on that persona because she still thinks he's Ron.
yeah,
And then by the end of the movie, you sort of see the two lives,
kind
like you
of.
said, they intertwine with each
Yeah,
other. And even when Gary starts going to like the police briefings and stuff, he's wearing like clothes that Ron would wear. He stops wearing his glasses by the end. He starts like doing his hair better. And I
yeah.
think that was good like visual storytelling of just showing how those characters are
Oh yeah, no,
like
absolutely.
merging into one. I know you're
Yeah.
not that familiar with Richard Linklater
Uh-uh.
or Linklater, whatever, however you say it. But
I've heard of like I know obviously the Sunset trilogy is like his big, isn't that like his famous
yeah,
thing?
yeah, the Before trilogy. I love those movies. I think when we did our episode where we talked
You'd
about our
mentioned
favorite
them, yeah.
trilogies, yeah, that was on there. I also forgot he directed School of Rock.
Oh really? It's
Yeah,
like
it's
a talk about a genre. Actually, not really.
it's kind of like
It's
a
kind of
random one.
comedy. Yeah.
But yeah, he also did another movie with Glenn Powell that has been on my list for a while. I just haven't watched
Oh
it yet. It's called Everybody Wants Some. I don't know if you've heard of it.
no. What's it about?
Um, let's see. It's apparently a comedy that follows a group of friends as they navigate their way through the freedoms and responsibilities of unsupervised adulthood. But it's like
He's
a
like when he was
period
younger.
kind of. It seems like it takes place in like the 70s.
Uh,
Um, but it was in 2016, so it's kind of recent.
yeah.
He also directed Dazed and Confused, which I'm sure you've heard of. That's like
Oh
another
yeah,
one
yeah.
that I've been meaning to get to, and I just haven't had a chance. But yeah, I'm really a fan of his directing style. Um,
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel like it's more of like I want to say like I don't want to say elevated comedy, but
yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. It's hard to think of a word, but it's kind of like it's
I feel like the
very
jokes are like not. I don't know. Like you have to kind of have a level of understanding.
on the surface level. It's like, yeah, it's stupid. This guy's dressing up as like a woman, dressing up as it's like a duck hunter and all this stuff, and it's like
Yeah,
goofy, but it knows when it wants to get serious, it kind of like locks in and actually
yeah.
does get
Kind of like yeah,
serious.
just like Ron.
Yep. Yeah, the style and theme of the story is like similar to the main character and how his journey ends up.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting. But yeah, like that scene I mentioned where, he's kind of getting interrogated or threatened by Austin Emilio's character, that other guy. What's his
yeah.
name?
The other cop,
Jasper.
Jasper.
Like that's a serious scene, Like
Yeah,
it knows when to play around and it knows when to actually like make it tense. I
Y-
remember watching it when I watched it. It was tense. I was like kind of like,
yeah.
what the fuck's gonna happen right
Did
now.
you have a favorite scene?
I think honestly that scene is my
Yeah,
favorite.
the
I was gonna
with
say,
him and Madison, like when they have to act.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was great.
well, the phone call one was really good, but I also liked like the actual one where
No, when he goes to
Jasper
her
is like
house.
in the house with the beer.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah,
like when he's physically sitting in the house, because you could tell like there's funny scenes where it's he knows like what's going on. Jasper knows what's going on, but the rest of the police people don't.
but I like how he kind of like remember he was like, "Didn't I see what? Didn't you?" He kind of pulls him into it because he says,
Yeah, he has like a leg up on him, so he could
"Yeah,
kind of just force him to do whatever because he has that on him. Dude, I forget that they kill him. I'm just
yeah."
remembering that. What did they end up doing with his body? I forget. Oh, they
He
put like
ends
a
up,
bag over his head, right?
yeah, yeah,
She drugs him. Yeah, like I said, it does get a little bit dark at points.
and then it just skips ahead and they have like a family and kids.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite like persona of his in the movie?
Um, I feel like you don't get enough time with them to really like have like. It's really just Ron is the has the most kind of like screen time. The other ones are really just like kind of 2-3 minute interactions.
Yeah. I really like the like Tilda Swinton
Swinton
looking
ones,
one.
yeah,
That one was really funny. Just like the voice he does too.
yeah,
I thought the Duck Hunter one was good.
yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot about the Duck Hunter one.
that one was good. The one where he shows up in like that big ass black coat and he has like the
Well, he's
black
like the
wig on.
Russian accent guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one was good. Yeah, there's a
the
lot of
Patrick
it's just
Bateman one.
yeah, I forgot about that one, the Patrick Bateman. Yeah, it's just like the movie's just very energetic, like I said, it's just very fun. It's
Yeah,
like a fun watch. Um but yeah, unless you have anything or you want to do favorite characters, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I feel like Ron is obviously the easy pick.
Yeah. Or Gary.
Gary,
Gary slash Ron.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
but
for me, I'm gonna take Jasper, honestly.
yeah,
I think he stuck out the most to me by the time the film concluded. Not to like take anything away from Glenn Powell's
no,
performance,
no,
but yeah, I'll take Jasper.
yeah. Mine's obviously. I mean, mine was kind of Gary, Ron. Well, gone right. I can't speak. Sorry, Gary slash Ron.
Yeah,
I
fair
kind of. I
enough.
mean, Glenn Powell doing all the personas was really cool. Honestly, getting to see his range, kind of. I mean, even though they're very small interactions.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It's just
Yeah,
like you could tell he's having a good time doing it.
yeah, yeah.
Seemed
I like
like
the
the whole.
setting too. I like that it's in New Orleans. I like when
Yeah,
movies kind of like pick a setting and they make it kind of part of the story.
yeah, definitely. That definitely was. Yeah, that was like a factor here.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, just because we got maybe a lot on our plate the rest of the
yeah.
episode. We can move on to ratings, unless you have anything else that you wanted
No, no, no.
to add. But all right, yeah. So for ratings, I gave this a 4 star, 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. Love the energy. It's a very frantic movie. Lots of fun. Great performances all around. Yeah, the only thing that held me back was a little bit of the decisions with the story towards the end and just like how complicated it kind of gets.
Yeah,
But I still really enjoyed it overall. So
fair.
sorry, don't
Yeah,
want to
no,
share
you're
that.
good. For me, I gave the same thing 4 out of 5, so 8 out of 10. Really, really good comedy. It's serious when it needs to be. The tension scenes are great. It's a good watch.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So let's move on to the movie we saw in theaters, which was Inside Out 2. I want to say it was directed by Pete Docter, but I'm gonna check because he does a lot of those Pixar.
Yeah,
Or no, it
I'm pretty
actually
sure it
wasn't.
was somebody that like it was his first like big.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's this gentleman named Kelsey Mann. Pete Docter did the first one. Uh, but yeah, so I actually rewatched the first Inside Out kind of recently. I think you did too, Joe, right?
Yeah.
I like forgot how good that one was. It
No,
was
yeah, it is really good.
I like underrated it a bit in my ranking of my Pixar films, but that movie's like a solid 4 star, really good. Really had some like
Yeah.
high emotional beats, memorable characters, good animation. And yeah, so when that movie ends, there's kind of a tease of Riley grows up a little and she gets this new emotion board, and there's a big button on it that says puberty, and it's like blocked away. And then Joy is like, "What's that for?" And they kind of just tease it. So this movie kind of picks up on that, and I feel like that's the perfect place to go with a sequel.
Yeah.
It's like the next logical step is to be, when a girl goes through puberty and what kind of that does to her emotional state.
I'm surprised that they took so long to do a sequel, because it was successful, and there was like obviously room for more story to tell. Like a sequel made sense.
Yeah.
So it took them what, 10 years for this to come out?
Yeah. Well, I guess 9 years, but close enough.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
and
I think
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
they lost a couple of the voice actors, but I think
Yeah.
keeping Amy Poehler was definitely, and Phyllis Smith, who did Sadness.
Yeah.
Like Joy and Sadness, those two staying, I think was huge. And that really, like Amy, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed Amy Poehler's performance.
No,
She's
she's
like a great
fantastic.
lead in
Yeah.
this. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
great as Joy. But yeah, to go more into the story a little bit. So there's these new like lore, I guess, introduced of how our mind works. And there's this, I forget what it's called, but it's like that flower looking thing.
Oh, her
Sense
her
of self.
conscious, her
Is that it?
conscious, or self. Isn't it her conscious? Or no?
No. It's like her sense of
Oh,
self, I think. And it's basically of all memories, that each one uh, puts like a branch into this sense of self, and they all come together to form this. I'm gonna call it sense of self. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a flower-looking thing, and that's kind of where we start off. We're introduced to that, and Joy is also like, "Oh, I developed this device that takes all the bad memories and shoots them to the back of the mind. Then I take all the good memories and connect them to the sense of self." So that right there basically sets the stage for, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. Is that it's not good to just
forget
ignore
all
your
your
bad
bad. Yeah.
memories. But the only problem with that is I feel like Joy would have learned that lesson from the first movie already. Like the whole point of the first movie is that she can't ignore like the like sadness. She has to let Riley incorporate all these emotions and not just
Yeah.
the joyful ones. So it doesn't really make sense as to why she would make the
Yeah. I don't
sense of
know.
self with only happy emotions. But also, I mean, I don't want to give it an excuse just because it's a kids movie. Like, I feel like
No,
that's not
that's
fair.
yeah. No. This
I'm
is like
still gonna,
that's a fair criticism of it.
like, to me, that didn't really make much sense. And it also sets it up to be pretty obvious as to what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so one day randomly, like, puberty hits. That button that I mentioned before starts going off. And yeah, they try to launch it to the back of the mind, and then like a wrecking crew of those little mind workers comes in and installs a new board with room for new emotions.
Yeah.
Just want to mention I like those little like brain worker guys. They're in the first movie as
I
well.
don't want to call them like minions, but they're kind of basically like minions.
Yeah, they're minion-esque.
Yeah. That's like the energy I get from them.
Yeah, but yeah, the new emotions that come with puberty are anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke, who is getting big now, as
And
well as
then envy, which
yeah.
is no, not envy. I'm sorry.
No, envy, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. That's Io at a
I had
berry.
about yeah.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing her
No.
name.
And
But yeah.
then what else?
Um and we and is that how you say it?
I think.
And that's like the boredom.
Yeah.
And then the last one is embarrassment, who doesn't really have much of a speaking line.
Yeah.
But those are good puberty level emotions, I think, for them to add. Definitely the anxiety, and you could tell that was like the main focus of the movie. The plot
Which
basically. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Maya Hawke was, I think, really good, well cast in this role.
Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah,
She stood out as well as Amy Poehler. Like both of
yeah.
them did really great jobs.
Honestly, all the emotions were really good. They're all well
Yeah,
cast, in my opinion.
I mean, this is a couple of them are newly cast.
Yeah.
Like Disgust used to be what's her face from The Office.
Um.
Why can't I remember her
Oh my
name right
god.
now? Mindy Kaling. That's
Yes.
it. And then
And Fear was what's his name? The guy from Barry.
yeah,
I feel like he
what?
probably got
Bill
bigger
Hader.
and like yeah, Bill
How
Hader.
am
He
I
probably got.
forgetting this?
I feel like his when he I can't speak when he was an actor when the first one came out, like versus now, he probably wanted a bigger
I
raise.
mean, he was still big in 2015. I just think that like they didn't know how big it was going to be back then, so they probably didn't get paid that much.
Yeah,
And when this new one came around, they're like, "All right, the first movie made $1 billion. Like we want more money." But apparently, they only offered like a big paycheck to Amy Poehler, so a lot of the others turned it
yeah.
down. Um,
I mean, honestly, like
and it paid
those are the
off
ones.
for
Yeah,
Disney.
like yeah, because I mean, Joy and Sadness are the two ones I feel like that are the most memorable. They're basically the co-leads to the first movie.
Yeah, that's who goes on that journey to
Yeah,
the back of the mind and everything. And yeah, it's interesting in this one. The rest of the emotions get to go through it as well. Because in the first movie, it's only joy and sadness that leave HQ.
yeah,
But yeah, so the story basically starts off with these new emotions showing up and anxiety. You could tell she's kind of like trying to do things her way, not really listening to what Joy has to say when Joy is usually in the lead. And
yeah.
then it gets to a point where anxiety basically takes the core emotions and kicks them out and takes over. Um,
She bottles them. She bottles them up.
yeah, she bottles them up, so they're repressed emotions. Like I like the little lore, or I don't know if it's lore bits, but just like how they explain things in the mind and how they work. Like a brainstorm is like a literal storm in the brain.
Yeah,
Like just that those little like clever things I like the repressed emotions. And it's just literally the emotions in a jar.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's something that the first film did really well. I think it did a good job in this film as well with those
yeah.
little
No,
things.
I liked all honestly everything that they added on in the from the first one to this. I kind of liked. There wasn't really much I didn't really not like.
Yeah, yeah. There's also the sarcasm. That
Yeah,
part
yeah, the sarcasm that was funny.
that was in the trailer, I think.
Yeah. I also like the little kind of 1984 scene in the I forgot what it's called. The pillow fight place. There's not. I don't know if there's a name for it.
It was like yeah, it's like Pillow Fortress something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget, but yeah, and that's just like another little thing. If it explains like how people dream, and it's like these or no, how she gets thoughts, or like she
Yeah.
anxiety makes her see possible futures. So it shows like all these little minions drawing out possible futures, and then they flash in Riley's head. So it kind of is like showing,
Oh,
that that's how like that works in your head. It's little minions drawing out these pictures that flash. Um, yeah, I thought that was funny. That was clever.
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's like a 1984 reference with anxiety up on the big screen and all the
Yeah.
workers. And they throw the chair.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know, but it worked for like kids, and I feel like it worked for adults as well.
yeah, it was definitely funny.
Yeah.
Like the first Inside Out, I think was funnier, but this was I still found myself laughing a lot throughout this.
Yeah.
I really like the when they get sent to like the deep dark secrets, like that area.
Oh yeah, with the I don't know his name, but kind of that cartoon sing along guy,
Yeah, let me see if I could find his name.
and the video game character was funny.
Yeah, that was probably like one of my favorite. That was probably my favorite scene. That
Yeah.
whole sequence in there. Let me see if I could find the guy's name. Um, deep dark secret voice. Oh, Pouchy.
Pouchy.
Yeah, Pouchy was funny.
Yeah.
it's like, it's making fun of kid shows and how they're like, oh, which one should I choose? And it's like an apple, a carrot, or like explosive DNA. I mean, explosive TNT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just funny. And then when it goes back to that at the end with anger, like basically like fucking up Pouchy by like pulling the TNT out of his mouth. That was one of like the funnier moments of the movie for me.
Honestly, anger was really funny too.
Yeah, anger is definitely funny. I like fear too. A lot of the stuff he was saying, like when anxiety pulls up,
Yeah, he's like,
he's like, yeah, I'm gonna like her. And the whole movie, he's kind of keeps saying like, oh, anxiety wouldn't have done this. Anxiety would do this, whatever. One complaint I have about the movie though is I think the emotional moments didn't hit quite as hard. It could be because I'm not a teenage girl going through puberty, so that might be why. Nor have I ever been that. But I feel like
you continue. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. I've been talking too much.
I was gonna say I do feel like you were saying with it does tread a little bit of the same water as Turning Red, in my opinion, because it's kind of the same exact themes as like going through puberty and like changing and like getting new friends. So it's pretty similar. So I feel like they tread a little of the same water on that. That was kind of my only complaint. But
yeah, that's fair enough. I do think I like this better though than Turning Red. Maybe
I think this is definitely like a better movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Besides Turning Red's biggest complaint that people have, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
There's like a meme online because there was like this Reddit post of someone complaining about Turning Red because like it takes place in Canada in 2001.
Yeah.
And someone made a Reddit post being completely serious, and they were like, "Yeah, I can't really take the film seriously because it takes place in 2001, and not a single character mentions 9/11 happening." Yeah, it's like a genuine complaint. You have to look it up after this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like
I'm gonna look up like just Turning Red Reddit.
Someone legitimately complained about that. That's like the most insane nitpick, and also like, why would that ever be mentioned?
Yeah, that's actually insane.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I was gonna say like, compared to the first movie, Bing Bong's death was like more impactful emotionally to me than anything that happened in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that as well.
That's fair. I feel like there's not really like a sacrifice like that in this.
I mean, there's the whole part at the end. I know we saw it with my girlfriend and our sister. They both teared up during this one particular scene, which is basically like Joy kind of almost giving up.
I was saying
yeah, she has a speech where she says, "Oh, maybe like anxiety is just meant to take control of Riley or something like that." It's definitely
she
like
said like maybe
it's
you
more
feel
profound than that. Yeah,
something like it was like you feel less joy when you're older.
Yeah, something like that. It's definitely more profound than what I'm saying. Like it definitely had some emotional weight, but it wasn't like I still thought Bing Bong's death was more emotional than that.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we also have like Riley's actual story besides the emotion stories that's going on in the background, where she's joining this woman's hockey team, and she kind of leaves her best friends to go for the more popular people, and she does some like messed up things. And I definitely related to it in a way of like doing stupid stuff when you're younger that hurts other people and you don't like necessarily know. Yeah, like why you would do it. It is a lot of, learning and growing up. So I did relate to that. I thought that was like her story, I think, wrapped up pretty nicely, and they just went about it pretty well.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned that Dark Secrets room is like my favorite scene, but I really did like that last scene where they get the new flower after the anxiety attack thing happens.
Yeah.
And then Riley's kind of just skating with like Joy again.
Joy. Oh yeah, the console calls her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good scene. How did you feel about like the whole anxiety? I saw people complaining about the anxiety attack being overplayed in movies, but I feel like in this movie, it actually like it makes sense for the story. I mean, you have the emotion anxiety, and they don't even
Yeah.
specifically say anxiety attack. It's just like kind of alluded to.
I was waiting for them to say that. I was waiting for anxiety to be like, oh,
Or panic. She has like a panic attack or anxiety attack, like some type of, you know.
yeah.
But in this for the story, it kind of makes sense. Like I don't feel like it
No,
was
yeah, it
forced.
does. It does. I mean, because it's kind of a trend
Yeah,
now after
like
Puss
there
in
was.
Boots,
Yeah,
and I
even
think
that one okay. Even like
wasn't
there was reason behind it. I feel like why does the Mario movie have a fucking anxiety attack scene?
what's I know there's an anxiety attack scene in that movie because I know people talk about it, but what scene is it? I actually can't
What
remember.
in Puss in Boots?
No, in Mario.
When and like the final when they're fighting in New York and Bowser pulls up, then he's like
Yeah,
getting his ass beat.
how does he get out of it? Is it from
I
Luigi?
think they get the star. It's when Luigi like helps him and they get the star. I forgot. It's something
What
like
kind of
that.
message is that showing to kids, bro? Yeah,
Yeah, I don't get like the Puss
anxiety
in Boots
attack, getting
one.
saved by a star. What is that
Like
supposed to mean?
the
Take
Puss in Boots
drugs.
one, I feel like makes sense for the scene because like it's supposed to be like death is chasing him and he has to like deal with that. That's another one where like all right, I could make it. It makes sense for the story. Like it's supposed to be shown that he's scared, like he runs away from the battle.
Yeah, and it's also it makes sense like for the dog because his whole thing was he wanted to be a therapy dog, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like his chance to actually do that at the end. But yeah,
I
in this
agree.
movie, I had no complaints with it. I thought
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense,
yeah,
and it's interesting to see like what an anxiety attack looks like from the inside of the brain, or like in this
yeah.
world, how they want to show it.
I thought it was cool. I liked the
Yeah,
visually. The movie was really fantastic.
I like how they did the anxiety attack visually on the inside, where
Yeah,
she's moving so fast that it's kind of like
she can't like she's like
she,
frozen.
yeah, and there's the tear coming out of her eye.
Yeah,
Better than the Flash, I'll say
that
that.
is. Yeah, you're right, dude.
But
Honestly, yeah,
um, yeah, I forget what happens by the end. So Riley ends up like apologizing to her friends, and then it doesn't say whether or not she made the team, but
it's
she like
alluded to. Like
smiles.
she
Yeah.
smiles after.
Um, Now I'm wondering, you mentioned there's going to be like a show or something.
Yeah, there's a show. It's supposed to release next spring. It's already complete, but I don't know like who's in it. It's supposed to take place at like it's the Dream Studio or wherever, like about how her dreams work and like stuff like that.
Yeah, they kind of went into that more in the first movie,
First one, yeah,
which those scenes were funny, where they kind of
yeah.
set everything up um in
Yeah,
like
I
the
feel like it's just gonna be
studio.
like kind of a cute little spin. I don't think it's gonna be anything like great, connected to the story, the main ones. I
Yeah,
definitely think they're gonna make a third one now, though.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, where do they go from here? Because I feel like they gotta add new emotions.
Yeah, they
Because
can, but there's just so
sell
many
more
different
toys,
emotions. Think about, just look up. They could. I don't know. I feel like they could
horniness.
make it work. I'm trying to
It's
think of
coming.
like Pride. I don't know. Like her going into high school, they could explore.
Yeah, I feel like it'll get to a point where it's like too adult. Like, what
Yeah,
emotions
no.
can you show? Because when you're in high school, there's like lust and like
Well,
I don't
like I
know,
mean, they
like
could
greed.
show. Yeah, but they don't have to show like a. They could show a PG high school. It doesn't have to be those.
It could be like love instead.
Well, yeah,
Love
like
could
her
be a good way to go. Like her first, because they
love.
mentioned like crushes that she has,
Yeah,
but it could be a story maybe about her like
yeah.
having a crush on someone and
Honestly, at one point, for some reason, I thought that her deep dark secret was that she was gay or something like that.
I don't know if Disney would want to show being gay as a deep, dark
I don't know
secret.
why I had
I
a
don't know if
feeling
that
they were
would
gonna
look.
pull that.
I feel like they kind of imply not that she could be gay in the whole like how she
Yeah, they
admires.
kind of. There's no like real like thing. How do I word it?
Actually, I mean, all of her
They don't allude
crushes
to any
were
way. They don't.
guys though,
Yeah,
like in the
that's
Mount
true.
Crushmore.
Yeah,
Now that I'm thinking about it, there was like no boys at all really in the
yeah. Well,
movie.
shit. The movie takes place over 3 days at a girls' hockey camp.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, the
weird that
movie
they
only takes
released.
place
Why do
over
you
the
think
course of 3 days.
they released it on Father's Day weekend too? And it still did really well. I
Well,
figured
it's a
Father.
family movie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a family movie. This feels definitely much more like a Mother's Day movie if they would have
Really?
released it that weekend.
I don't know. I thought it was like. I feel like a fan, like anything, like I could totally picture a bunch of people seeing it with their dad, like a bunch of kids. Well, speaking of everyone going to see it, I think it basically made 300 million in the opening weekend
Yeah,
worldwide. So
which is, I mean, for our current days that we're living in, is like
That's
near unheard of.
that's
It's like
crazy. Yeah,
crazy, yeah. And it was projected, I think, domestically opening weekend to do like 80 to 90,
yeah.
and it did like 120 or something like
I
that.
think positive word of mouth definitely helped it out because it got good reviews.
Yeah, and it's just the power of sequels. This is why like
I
Disney
feel like
doesn't like
Dis-
doing, this is
but
why
this
Toy
was
Story 5 is getting made. They
yeah,
don't do
like they're
originals
learning
because
the
they don't make
wrong
money.
lessons from this. But this is an original IP. Like this is like kind of it was like a singular story told by a director. It wasn't really looked at as a franchise movie. This was an original idea. It wasn't like an IP or something like that. So they created
Yeah,
this
but I
idea,
mean,
but now
technically,
they're
like none of the Pixar movies were original IP. I mean, they
no,
were
I know,
all
but
were
I'm
just like
saying like
made.
now that they made this, what are their next movies going to be? It's going to be like Toy Story 5, which has been around for what since Pixar's creation, essentially. What are the other ones they're doing? Uh,
Toy Story 5.
Frozen 3. Well, no, that's
Well,
Disney.
that's
That's not
Disney. I
Pixar.
don't know what Pixar has next. I know they have Elio.
Elio in the summer. Well, next summer, I think. Let me look it up. I'm actually curious. I don't know what they're.
Yeah, and also seeing this movie, I think I mentioned it to you in the theater, but my girlfriend went to the bathroom and she said she saw a little girl like in the bathroom with like a Joy doll, like a little girl with a
Yeah, there
doll.
was a ton of kids.
And it just made me realize like we saw the trailer for Moana 2 come up and I'm just like this movie is going to make so much money and it
Yeah,
doesn't even have to be good just because there's all these little girls that like just love Moana.
yeah.
And it shows why these animated movies do so well because there's these kids that just are so attached to the characters and that's the secret to
Bro,
making a
look at
good movie.
The Minions franchise.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not to discredit. The Despicable movies are fine. I don't think they're like.
Yeah, no, and this movie was good. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
no, it
I'm
was
not saying
good.
it's
Yeah,
bad, but it didn't
uh,
have to be good and it still would have probably made this much
yeah.
money.
So they have it says Elio, whatever his name is, that comes out uh, June 13th, 2025. Then Toy Story 5 is June 19th, 2026. And then after that, it's the guy who did Luca. He has like another on like original Disney Pixar movie. That's like the next one after that, and then after
I
that, it's
feel
all
like
like
Ratatouille 2 is inevitable at this point.
no. The guy said he would not. He doesn't want to do it.
What else would get a sequel?
Well, this one it says Finding Nemo 3, Incredibles 3, Monsters
Another
Inc. 2.
well they have the Monsters Inc. prequel, I guess.
Yeah, and then it says an untitled Pixar TV show, but I don't know what that is. I feel like the only ones that actually interest me are Incredibles 3. Finding, I still haven't even watched Finding Dory, so I don't
That's
really care about
fine.
Finding Nemo 3.
But
That's
Ellen's
like
canceled now, so she
yeah,
can't
so
voice Dory anymore.
but like that's like what are they gonna? What's the point of Finding Nemo 3?
Well,
Seriously,
maybe they have to find someone else.
it's just like
They
I
f-
don't know.
they found Nemo, they found Dory. Who else is left to find?
Like
They should do one where they find that fish that Willem Dafoe voices.
he
He's
voices a
like,
fish in it. I didn't know that.
yeah, he has like a couple lines.
I didn't know. Oh
They
yeah,
should
you're
just
right.
do
He
that.
voices that like zebra looking fish.
Yeah, yeah, the one with like the slash through his eye. That
Yeah,
would be sick. And it's just like him going on adventures
it
and
should.
It's like a fish
Yeah,
with Willem Dafoe's voice, just like swimming around the whole movie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Um,
don't know. Disney's gonna. I just think Disney's gonna learn all the wrong lessons from the Inside Out 2 being successful.
yeah. I feel like Cars 4 maybe. What? Because if you're thinking of all the most recent like Pixar movies that were new that could get a sequel, Inside Out is probably the most recent.
Yeah,
Because what other ones? Like Luca is probably not going to get a sequel.
no, I don't think
Turning
so.
Red is not going to get a sequel.
No, Soul's not gonna get
Onward,
a sequel.
yeah, Onward and Soul are not going to get sequels.
I mean, maybe Turning Red.
Yeah, with like all the family has the pandas now.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
but yeah,
Yeah.
who is your favorite character from Inside Out 2? Do you think?
Honestly, I really liked Anxiety. I feel like Joy was my favorite in this one, but just I kind of pick a different character.
Yeah, I still think Joy is the best character, but each one honestly, like I really like
They're all
each
really
one.
good in their
Like
own
they each
right.
have their own funny moments. But Joy is kind of just like the rock that holds everything together. Although, yeah, second place definitely. Out of the new emotions, I liked Anxiety the best.
Yeah.
For sure. Envy, I feel like they didn't take advantage of her, like, emotion enough. Like, she didn't really take control of the board too much. She did, like, once. And same thing with Ennui. She only touches the board, like, once.
Well, I kind of
she's
feel like the whole point was, like, because she's a teenager and, like, you're so overly anxious when you're younger.
Yeah. But I thought those scenes that could have been funny, like, and Wee has a couple. One of them is when she's sarcastic about the boy band. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like good. But I feel like there was a lot that they could have done with Envy. Like they only used Envy once really at the beginning when she's saying how much she loves the girl's hair. Besides that, there wasn't really anything that, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyways, I think I'm good to get to ratings.
Yeah.
If you want.
What'd you end up giving it?
So I gave this a 3.5 star, 7 out of 10. Like I said, still really enjoyed it. It's just a little bit below the original, in my opinion, because of those issues with the story where even like just where it starts doesn't really make sense as to why Joy would do that or like think that's okay with suppressing those emotions, especially after like the first movie. But all in all, like had a good experience watching it at the theater. It's going to be great for families, and I laughed. So
yeah,
what more can you really ask for? I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10.
And same thing with me. I think it's just on par with the first one. It's really close. I don't know if it's better or if it's worse, but I gave it 3.5 out of 5, 7 out of 10. Good story, really good animation. I feel like no one really talks about that, but the animation was like really, really good.
Yeah, that's not something that I tend to notice as much as I feel like you do.
I feel like I watch a lot of more animated stuff, so I pick up on I appreciate it when like the animation looks good. I feel like in a movie where the animation is bad, it sticks out a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I guess we can move on now to the movie news.
Yeah.
If you want to pull this up with me, so we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first bit that we got for this episode was a new trailer for Alien Romulus, which comes out this August. It kind of gave us more a look at some of the different characters and like what exactly is going on, but at the same time, I feel like it didn't really reveal anything about the plot.
Yeah.
Which is a
It's
good thing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather it be more mysterious.
But yeah, I actually I know nothing about the plot, honestly. I know that it takes place between the first and second Alien movies.
And it's in space mainly, right?
Yeah, I think. It looks like they get kind of stuck somewhere and the aliens board the ship. That's what I think it is. Just based off of like the trailer footages, but I have no idea.
Yeah. And I know the director said like because the best part about the original Alien is the horror, and then Aliens, which is the second one that James Cameron did. That's more the action that people really like, and he said he's going to try to take the best of both into this movie.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like it's more horror focused than anything. And Fede Alvarez, the director, he is a horror director. He directed the Evil Dead remake in 2013, which is really good.
And he did
something more recent, right?
That movie with the blind guy that like he's from Avatar. He's like the villain in Avatar.
Yeah, it's like a stupid name. Let me see if I can find it.
Don't Sleep or something like that, or Don't Breathe. Is that it? Don't Breathe?
Don't Breathe. Yeah, Don't Breathe. I think they made a second one, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think he directed it. But yeah, he's known for his horror, and I like him as a horror director.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping.
And he also, I don't know if you saw this too, but he said that I'm pretty sure all the aliens were practical effects. Like they didn't do any CG for them.
Yeah, that is sick to me. I'm really hyped about that. Yeah. And in the trailer, you see like one of the aliens. That looks cool. It's like the mouth opens and that thing shoots out. Yeah. It kind of like you could tell that it's like a prop. Like you can tell that it's a
Yeah,
physical
it's like a
thing there,
physical thing. It's not.
but
Yeah,
and it doesn't like look real necessarily. But I like that.
I prefer that. Yeah,
Like
I mean it's an
we
alien, so it's not.
yeah, we
What
know
do
it's
you?
not real. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it just makes it feel like the original
more like
film
that.
more.
Yeah,
So, and it has like a I don't know, just like
I don't. I agree with
a
you when it's
certain
physically there. I
I
feel like for
can't
the
think of the
actors, it's
word,
better
but
too to actually have a physical thing there instead of screaming at like a blank screen.
yeah, it has
Yeah,
like an authentic. That's the word.
yeah,
Just like an
yeah.
authentic feel to it. So
Yeah, but I'm. This is like fastly approaching. I'm actually not going to be here when it comes out, but I'm going to try to still watch it.
I forget you're gonna be in London at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I'll probably
maybe
still be able to watch it.
if there's like a famous theater out there, maybe.
Yeah, I'll try to go find one of them.
But all
Yeah.
right, um,
Next one.
let's move on to Marvel news. So the director of Deadpool, Shawn Levy or Levi, is apparently in early talks to direct the next Avengers film. And Marvel is gonna apparently meet with other directors while they wait on a decision back from him. So they must really like what he did with Deadpool then.
Yeah. But I'm afraid they're looking more at like the box office than the actual movie. Because regardless, maybe we learn what little girls holding joy. There's going to be kids holding. Actually, well, Deadpool's R-rated, but superheroes, same type of thing. Like people just go to see it. They don't really care
Yeah,
if it's good or bad. So I don't know how. I'm a little bit of a doubter for the Deadpool movie. So I don't. We'll see how he does with this. I wasn't really the biggest fan of what was the movie he did with Ryan Reynolds.
Free Guy.
Free Guy. I
No, neither
wasn't.
was I.
And then there was that other movie he did on Netflix, the time travel one. That was okay.
The Atom Project or something.
Yeah,
I never saw that, but
yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like they're gonna be. It's definitely gonna be very fan service heavy if he's directing. It's gonna be a ton of cameos. I feel like that's what they want, and that's why they're directing him.
yeah, I think they kind of just these Avengers movies are just gonna be like balls to the wall, just everything, like
Yeah,
all the
he's
Avengers,
basically
all
just
the
like a
X
stand-in
Men.
director.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for that, and then for them to just like take a step back after Secret Wars, after it's all over. But
Well,
it seems like it's leading up to be like everything, like get all the Spider-Man in it, get all the X-Men, get
well, yeah,
Wolverine,
because
get
I think they're
Deadpool, like
gonna they're gonna
get all the
like
Avengers.
after these Avengers movies. I think they're just gonna like reboot basically and like reset the timeline and just tell stories where like all the characters are together at one point. Like, you know what I mean? So like from the
Yeah,
beginning is gonna be mutants, like Fantastic Four, the Avengers, everything like that.
yeah. Um, yeah, so we'll see. I mean, he's definitely not my favorite pick, but we'll see how he handles Deadpool
This
because
also makes me think that Cassandra Nova is gonna be the villain for Avengers 5.
I mean, I'm trying to think maybe she could escape the void by the end of Deadpool.
Because she's supposed to be like a multiversal type of villain. Like she can open like time portals and stuff like that. And they said they want to do a multiversal villain for the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, because this is the multiverse saga
Yeah.
technically, so it wouldn't make sense.
I don't, I feel like that's how what's gonna end up happening is she's gonna survive and end up being the villain of the Avengers movie. Because this isn't Deadpool supposed to set up the next Avengers movie?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to lead into Secret Wars, so I feel like this will lead into Secret Wars, and then the next Avengers movie will be like what was supposed to be Kang Dynasty will also lead into Secret Wars, and then like they'll intertwine in Secret Wars. I don't know if
Or I
Deadpool's
mean,
gonna.
this could be Secret Wars, like part one, and then they could do
Yeah,
Secret Wars
that's
part
true.
two.
Because I think originally Deadpool and Wolverine weren't supposed to be in Kang Dynasty. They were only supposed to be in Secret Wars, but I saw something that because
Well,
like how well the
now they
movie's gonna
definitely
do,
are. Yeah.
they're gonna like just put them in that one as well.
If this makes $1 billion, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reynolds on the cover of the Avengers 5 poster.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do like the Deadpool humor.
Yeah, because like it's gonna be like serious the Avengers movies. I feel like Deadpool isn't gonna fit the. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really work.
I mean, I could see him working in PG-13 if you know as long as
yeah, that's
if he
fine. But like when he,
references the fact that he's in a PG-13 movie and he can't curse and whatnot. But I feel like he's a character that is very hard to do drama with. Because as much as the Avengers movies are supposed to be funny, yeah, like Deadpool is basically completely jokes. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like they're gonna have to tie it with like probably Vanessa or something like that. He's gonna have to have a motive for wanting to do
like
this.
imagine at the end of Endgame, everyone's like going around Tony Stark's dead body after he snaps, and it just shows like Deadpool. Like it would just be like too goofy,
Nah,
you
yeah,
know?
I know, I
Like
know.
I don't. So we'll see. I'm
We'll
sure there'll be
see.
a
Yeah,
way for them to figure it out. But
yeah. I kind of miss when the first director attached to this was the most excited I was for this movie.
yeah, Dustin and Daniel Cretton,
Yeah,
right?
like the fight scenes probably would have been amazing.
Yeah, apparently he's gonna work on Shang-Chi too. So
I mean, yeah, I can't believe that hasn't got a sequel yet. What'd that come
yeah,
out? 2019, 2021?
I think no,
It was like,
2019 was Endgame, I think.
oh,
So
so
probably like
probably 2021.
2021.
It was
Yeah.
successful like post COVID.
Yeah.
It did well financially and like critically, and it's been 3 years and there's been no movement on the sequel at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
But we'll see. It's
Yeah.
it's coming. All right, yeah, to move on. So I don't know if we've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but there's apparently these Beatles biopics that are happening where it's going to be 4 movies and each one follows a different member. And I think we got our cast announced. So maybe you could go through
Yeah.
it.
So John Lennon is going to be played by. Well, is this confirmed or no?
Let me see the source.
I don't think it's confirmed. It was the rumored cast.
It's from the Insider, who's pretty.
He's pretty reliable.
He's pretty reliable. Yeah, he's pretty reliable.
Harris Dickinson as John Lennon, Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, and Charlie Rowe as George Harrison. I don't know the other two. I know obviously Mescal and Keoghan.
No, you know Harris Dickinson. He's from Triangle of Sadness. You never seen, but he's from the Iron Claw.
Who does he? Does he play like the brother that like can't that like talks better than Zac Efron on the TV?
He's like yeah. He's the brother that kind of takes over for Zac Efron to begin with, like the one that he's jealous.
The one that dies in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Huh.
So Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr is pretty good casting.
Yeah.
But I feel like these are definitely Mescal and Keoghan are just like names that are just
names. Yeah.
That are just in everything.
Are they gonna sing in it? Keoghan, I feel like will sing.
Well, he does the drums. Ringo Starr is the drummer. I don't know. I mean, I know they all sing. I think I don't really know shit about the Beatles, bro. Besides, I listen
to the music. Suck. No, I actually love the Beatles.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I like the Beatles,
but I don't I don't know like about the history or anything like that of the Beatles.
I honestly think this is a terrible idea.
To do 4 movies?
Yeah.
I mean,
first of all, like, how are you going to differentiate them that much? And also, what if the first one sucks? Then what? And makes no money.
Yeah.
Like, then,
I feel like they're not going to be made for.
I don't know. Do you think they'll like film all of them at the same time? Probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know, because how are you going to make each one like
Beatles crossover film?
How are you going to make each one stylistically different enough for people to come back out like 4 times to see it? Especially if they're releasing like in close proximity to each other. It's definitely something different, and I appreciate the fact that they're trying something different, but to me it just seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting tired of the music biopics. There's a million of them. Like the Michael Jackson one. They just had the Whitney Houston one coming out.
I'm excited for Mike Jack.
It's done by his estate though, so it's gonna be. I feel like part of the interesting story about Michael Jackson is like all the crazy shit that he did.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, yeah, as obviously that shit was terrible, but just like a story about his life, I feel like would be very interesting. Even going back to like the Jackson 5 and like how he was kind of born into music and how he became so huge. So, apparently, I feel like that movie's gonna make so much money. Mm-hmm. That'll be another one that probably makes $1 billion.
Yeah, it's MGM, I think, still in it, right?
Yeah, I think so. So, all right, let's move on from that. This one's kind of big news. So there's a Hunger Games book coming out, a new one. That's called Sunrise on the Reaping. I think it's coming out 2025, and they already announced a movie for it coming out November 2026. And the book is going to follow Haymitch, who was Katniss's mentor in the first Hunger Games, when he won his Hunger Games. That's Woody Harrelson's character.
Isn't there like something special about that Hunger Games that he won?
I don't remember. I feel like there is, but I forget. Or like there was like more
I
contestants or
saw
something.
something online that there was like something special, like something about it that he won made it like significant.
Yeah. It's definitely like an interesting place to go in the story. And I
Do you,
enjoyed the last Hunger Games, but I feel like writing this book with the intention of it being a movie is kind of a strange concept to me.
yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know how I feel
I
about
feel like the probably studio probably approached her and was like, "Hey, we want to make more movies in this world," and she probably like looked at stories she can tell, because that at least like that's not like a made up thing. Like it's known that this guy won this Hunger Games. Like this was set in the book already,
Yeah.
and it's the author that's making the story, so it's not like they're just like making it out of nothing.
hmm I
So I
feel like
mean,
the end goal, they're going to try to figure out a way to bring back Katniss in some, obviously not in this movie, but I feel like that's going to be the end goal, is get Katniss back on the screen somehow. I don't know
I
if,
haven't watched the movie, so I don't know like the ending of it, or you mean they want to get her like pre Hunger Games, like
no, like, I don't know. I don't think it would make sense for her to come after, but I just feel like they're going to try to get her to come back somehow because of like nostalgia and stuff.
yeah. Well, they had the line at the end of the first one.
Yeah. So,
Anyway,
yeah, that was just a quick little news thing.
next bit of news. Jordan Peele actually was rumored to have a meeting with Marvel Studios about the upcoming live action X-Men movie, but nothing really came of it. I feel like people are making a bigger deal about this than it should be. Studios have meetings with directors all the time. I feel like he probably just had a pitch for an X-Men idea, and that Marvel probably isn't going in the direction he obviously had for the X-Men. I'm really interested to see what his idea would have been.
Yeah, and it's cool that he's like willing to meet with them because that at least shows some sort of potential future.
I mean, Blade is it's like another one I feel like he would be good for.
Yeah, and we can might as well mention that here now
Yeah,
that Blade lost its director again.
for the second time.
So,
It's
and they
gonna
got a
do
new
what
writer.
six writers and 2 or 3 directors by now.
Yeah, it doesn't. I just don't
I
understand what
don't.
the
Yeah,
issue
it's just
is.
such
Like,
a
what is?
simple movie. Like it's just a dude that just kills vampires, and like
Jordan
that's
Peele
it.
would be perfect for Blade because I feel like they should get at least try to get a black director who Peele
Yeah,
is,
they
and
should get a black director. I
he
agree.
has his roots in horror.
Yeah,
So it's like a horror action. I feel like it's a match made in heaven. I wouldn't be surprised if that was brought up at least in the meeting. But
probably.
um, I don't know if you
Um,
saw what they said about the most recent Blade script, but apparently it's going to now be set in current day. It was
yeah, I
supposed
saw
to
that
be,
too.
and it's going to tie into the Midnight Suns project, which will cross over with like Moon Knight, uh, Werewolf by Night, and like some other characters. Apparently, Mahershala Ali likes that it's set in current day and it'll connect.
I like that better in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the period piece version could have had potential, but I do prefer if it was just set in current day.
And we're kind of getting the period piece with Ryan Coogler's movie coming out.
Yeah, that vampire movie
Yeah.
with Michael B. Jordan. Um, but yeah, any other thoughts on this Peel meeting or?
No. I mean, it's exciting to see that the X-Men are, they're taking meetings for directors. It means they're obviously moving along.
Yeah,
I wonder what his villain would be. I feel like it would have been Sinister, just because he has like kind of a horror.
yeah, could have been for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder where like the X-Men timeline is going to start in the MCU. Like, are they going to have a young Professor X or an older Professor X?
Probably older. Like I'd say like 50s, 60s
You don't
maybe.
think it's going to be like First Class, for instance?
No. I think they want to go straight to like the team that's basically like the main iteration of the team, kind of X-Men 97.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to get as close to 97 because they know that's successful and that people like that. I don't know.
Mhm. All right. Yeah, you could talk about this next thing.
Yeah. It also got announced Blue Beetle is getting an animated series, and I believe all the cast members are going to return from the original, and it's going to be a continuation of the movie, and potentially cross over into like another Blue Beetle movie. I feel like this is probably going to be a way to set up the Teen Titans, kind of like a precursor to it. I feel like we've heard a lot of rumors about Teen Titans, and it makes sense.
Yeah, to me it makes sense as like a bridge between his movie, which is technically he's a character in the DCU,
DCU,
but that movie's not in the DCU. So it'll
but like
bridge it.
nothing really happens in it that like makes it specific. Like if they could leave it in or out of the continuity, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But I think James Gunn wants like Superman to be the start. Like if you go back and you have to watch
Yeah.
certain whatever movies to watch the DCU, I don't think Blue Beetle is going to be like part of that.
Yeah. I liked the Blue Beetle movie. I enjoyed it. I liked what's the actor's name? Zolo, right? Something like that.
Manuel something, I thought.
I forgot his name. But
Let me look him up because I don't want to disrespect him. Hold on. Zolo Meridueña.
yeah,
I was thinking of
like that.
the director's
Directors.
Angel Manuel.
I think the
Soto.
director's returning in some aspect. Whether to
That's
like
interesting.
but yeah, it should be cool. I mean I like Blue Beetle. I feel like he's something that fits better into animation with his fighting style with like creating objects and stuff like that. You could definitely see in the movie there was a lot of like anime influence, and I feel like they're gonna definitely lean into that in the show.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you said, his like skill set and his fighting style works really well for animation. This is interesting though to show like what kind of projects they're gonna do in animation because I know
Yeah.
James Gunn said like animated things are gonna be a big part of this universe.
Which I like.
And like the characters are gonna have the same voice actors for
Yeah.
continuity purposes. So
I like that they're gonna do animated stuff as well.
yeah, I agree. I feel like we're at a point where it won't confuse people anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So
Is that the only animated DC thing? I mean, I know Creature Commandos.
I feel like
There's
there
another
might be
one.
something else, yeah. Maybe the
Creature
Wonder Woman?
Commandos got a
Was it the
release.
Wonder Woman show?
No, it's getting a video game, I think.
No, wasn't there like the Amazons show or something?
Oh, but I don't think that's animated.
Oh.
But yeah. So
Alright.
exciting.
Yeah. We already talked about the Blade stuff. Well, this one I'll talk about because it's my favorite actor, but so Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, his production company called $7, signed a first look deal with Disney. So it includes multiple films that The Rock himself will develop and potentially star in, including Marvel, Star Wars, and any other Disney-owned IP. So does that say that The Rock is going to be in Marvel now? Is that what I'm
Or
hearing?
Star Wars.
I feel like he would fit more in Marvel. I just don't know if he would do something. I know people are
I feel
saying
like Star Wars makes more
Apocalypse,
sense.
right?
Yeah, he fits the bill and he has the look for Apocalypse. But I feel like they're a long way from Apocalypse. He basically like they're Thanos. They're the X-Men's Thanos. That's like the equivalent of.
But would he be able to not be the leading man in an action movie? That's the question. It's definitely interesting. Where I feel like I can't see him in Star Wars. Like imagine The Rock with a lightsaber, and like a hood, and he's just giant.
I feel like they could like I don't know. I could see him as like one of the first Jedi, like kind of like a religious figure in the Dawn of the Jedi movie.
You could see him as the chosen
Maybe not the
god
chosen,
figure.
but like one of that would fit him. That's like perfect for his ego.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what happens with his A24 movie and how it like changes his trajectory of his career.
Yeah.
I'm like very interested in that. Imagine it's just like a complete banger and he's awesome in it.
I mean, there's a chance it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Do you think this shows any like bad blood with Warner Brothers or anything? Because I know, he was obviously Black Adam and he had all these plans with DC.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like it's more of like he didn't go straight to Disney like, oh, I want to get revenge on
Yeah,
Warner Bros. I feel like it's more of just like a business deal than like a petty deal.
yeah. I
Like he
mean, and
did
it's
this
not
more in
like
the interest of his company than trying to get back at Warner Brothers.
yeah, and it's not like he's new to Disney. He just did Jungle Cruise recently, which I'm pretty sure was
Yeah.
a decent success. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with The Rock. Doesn't he? I think he has another movie coming out like this Christmas. That's like
Oh, Red Notice or whatever. That
it's
apparently
supposed
he
to be
was
like
like,
one of the most expensive movies of all time.
and
And he
he
was like,
showed up, and it's like his fault. Like he would show up like 8 hours late to set and crap like that.
yeah, they said that he would piss in a bottle instead of going to the bathroom in
Are
order
you
to
serious?
save time. Yeah, bro, I swear to God. You didn't see that?
No.
Yeah,
Damn.
apparently he like peed in bottles instead of walking to the bathroom because it would save time.
That's
That like
crazy.
made everyone uncomfortable. Such a weird, bro. I don't even know. I'm not a fan of
You
it.
don't have that much time to like walk to
Or
the
you show
bathroom
up
and
8 hours late, but you're like, all right, let me pee in a bottle to save time.
yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Anyways, um, last big thing here is the Alamo Drafthouse recently was going out of business, but they were looking for a buyer. They were selling, and Sony Pictures ended up purchasing the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, that company. So it's the first major Hollywood studio to own a movie theater chain in the past 75 years. Now, this is something that actually used to be illegal
Really?
because of
I
like
didn't know that.
ethical reasoning, but I think that is a
Yeah, what do you
little
mean
out.
ethical reasoning?
Like, imagine if all theaters were owned by Disney, then they would only play Disney movies.
Yeah. Well, I feel
But
like that's stupid. Like, as a business model.
you could purposely like if Sony doesn't want a certain movie to do well, they don't have to play it, for example. Like I don't know. I think that it's fine, and I think that it's
I feel
not
like they're
like
gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like especially Alamo's kind of clientele. They like those kind of old school movies. A lot of the people that go to those movie theaters, are people that like nerds like me and you that love
yeah.
movies, that watch old movies and stuff like that. Not the average person that goes to movies like
Yeah, but
three,
we'll
four
see
times a
what
year.
we'll see what they do with it because now that they own it, they can make it into anything they want. They can make it into just a normal commercial
Yeah, but put it
theater
this way,
chain.
like I don't put it like that. Let's say how they compete technically with like DC for like superhero stuff with them with
Hmm.
Spider-Man. Like I don't think they're not going to play Superman in the Alamo when it comes out next year. Like that would be stupid because people are going to want to see that movie even if you're competing against it.
Yes, yes, I agree 100%. But let's say Sony comes out and says, "All right, the new Spider-Verse movie, it's releasing a week early in the Alamo." And the only people that can see the movie is if you have an Alamo Drafthouse near you.
Well, yeah, I mean the AMC
You
does
think
stuff
that's all
like
right?
that with movies that they're like, oh, we can. How many early access movies we see?
Yeah, but that's different because there's not like an ulterior motive to it. Like
I mean,
AMC
I'm
doesn't.
assuming the movie companies pay them so they can offer the movies early access for people to see.
Yeah, but usually they're also in like Regal as well. It's not just
That's
AMC.
fair. Yeah. I just feel like if they want to make money, although I understand what you're saying about them only showing their movies, for them to make the most money, it makes the most sense to put movies that are going to make money. So even if it's not Sony produced movies, like I don't think they're gonna put, let's say, um, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like a smaller movie coming out this year. Like I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of something, but think of like a smaller indie movie not made by Sony. Maybe they won't play that at their theater, but like they're gonna play like Jurassic Park, that sequel that comes out next year. Like they're gonna play that there, even though it's Universal.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate
Yeah,
here,
that's
and
fair.
like I'm trying to, just explain why this is such a big deal because there
What
are
could
like
possibly happen?
yeah, but
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's fine,
I get what you
and
mean.
it's definitely a net positive because now Alamo is like saved.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and it
really
also
like
gives
that.
Alamo room to expand as well because now they have like more funding, kind of.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've been a couple times, right, or once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm going actually this Wednesday to the Alamo in Brooklyn, which is actually it's like downtown Brooklyn Alamo. It's really really nice. It's probably like honestly one of the nicest theaters I've ever been to.
That
But
one like that has a like Target on the first floor.
yeah,
You go
yeah.
up, yeah. No,
But
that
yeah,
theater's really nice.
I'm seeing the Bike Riders with Austin Butler and Jodie Comer Q&A, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
That's probably like the biggest in person like Q&A that I'm gonna
Yeah,
see, like
probably. I
Austin
mean,
Butler. But then I'm
definitely.
seeing Emma Stone on Friday as well, so
Oh yeah, so that's yeah.
I actually have a packed week. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna be busy, right, Joe?
Yeah, I'm working.
But I'll give
Yeah.
I'll post some clips on the
Yeah.
podcast Instagram for sure. But all right, that does it for movie news. Maybe you wanna
Yeah, we could talk
move
about
on to the list.
that list. I actually I wasn't able to get 10 movies.
What are
Um
you at?
I only had 6 actually.
Really?
One of them came out in 1976, so it didn't count because it wasn't 50 years.
Oh, all right. Well,
Um
let me explain the list though, in case anyone.
yeah.
Well, probably most people don't have no idea what we're talking about, but yeah. So since this is our 50th episode, I thought it'd be a fun idea for us to do our top 10 favorite films that are 50 years old or older. A lot of maybe lesser known to the average. Well, actually, that's not even true because most of the old movies
Yeah,
that are
most of
good are
these
like
are yeah.
classics, but lesser us talked about at least. I'll put it like that. Um, and yeah, actually, I had a like my top 10. They're all 4.5s,
Yeah.
and I still had like a lot more. I don't know if you had any bad movies on your list. I feel like
No, most of them, I think the lowest rated one is like 3.5 stars.
yeah, because why would you watch a movie that old unless you know it's good? You
Yeah.
know. So, but yeah. So wait, you only have 6.
Yeah.
So I'll just quickly go through my 10 through 6, and then you could say your 6. Just
Mhm.
so we're on the same page. So at number 10, I actually have a film from 1969 called Midnight Cowboy. And this is one that stars John Voight and Dustin Hoffman.
What?
Yeah, like not like the boys Vought, but um yeah, it was a movie that I kind of just gravitated to because I'm pretty sure it won the Oscar for Best Picture. So I was like, fuck it, let me
Yeah.
check it out and it looked
Yeah.
interesting. And Dustin Hoffman's character is like so memorable in this movie. And there's like a twist that happens with this character towards the end that like I actually almost shed a tear in like what happens with this character. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just like a really fun kind of not
Movie.
buddy cop, but it just follows these two guys as they go on this adventure. Uh, and yeah, I was a big fan of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then in ninth, I actually had a movie that we talked about on the podcast. I'm sure this one's on yours. The Sound of Music
Yeah.
from 1965. You actually, we talked about it. Obviously, we did a whole episode on it, but you went to where they
Yeah.
filmed.
Yeah. I really do. I love that movie, but I wasn't
Yeah.
able to go where the movie was filmed in Austria. And it was honestly really nice. It was amazing to see in person.
Mhm.
The country is really beautiful.
Yeah, it had a great story, and as long as it is, it flew by for me, really.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
music, obviously,
It's
it's in the title,
fantastic.
is
Yeah.
really good. So, and then in eighth place, I had Chinatown from 1974, directed by Roman Polanski, who's kind of a scumbag, but that's besides the point. Um,
I know I've heard of that movie, but like I don't know what it's actually about.
so it stars Jack Nicholson, and he's like this
Is he like a
like
detective?
private detective.
Yeah.
And he's investigating this like woman's husband's affair or something. But there's all like these like twists and turns in the case, and there's a bunch of I don't know, just like twists and turns with what happens
Yeah.
in the case. He has a very iconic look in it because he gets his nose cut up at one point, so he has like the
Uh,
bandage on his face.
why
I
is it
really,
called Chinatown? Like, is it set in Chinatown, the movie? Or?
yeah, I think I don't know if it's Chinatown like New York.
But it's a Chinatown.
Um, yeah, I forget. I think let me see. It's
I
in
always wanted, yeah, because the movie had nothing to do with like
it is
Chinatown
in
itself.
Southern California. I forget. Like Chinatown has an important meaning to the story. I honestly forget because I haven't seen the movie in a while. But yeah. All right. Number 7 for me is probably one of the strangest movies I've ever seen, but it just was so memorable to me and left a mark on me, and that's The Holy Mountain, directed by Alejandro Jodorowsky. You might recognize Jodorowsky as a director. His name. He's like a very famous director.
I've heard of that movie too.
But yeah, it's like I can't even begin to explain what the movie's about. It's about like life, religion. It's very
It's like a deep
existential.
movie.
It's deep, but it's also absurd. It has like an absurd aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
These characters break the fourth wall. There's just like all this weird shit that happens. It's definitely one of the most unique movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I honestly, I want to recommend it one of these days for us to talk about, but we'll have to buckle up for that episode because it's actually insane. But
Sounds fun.
all right, and then number 6, I had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's another one I
About that
missed.
one. Yeah. Gene Wilder. I can't really say enough about his portrayal as Willy Wonka. Really like the music, like the aesthetic. And yeah, it's Willy Wonka. Can't really say much else about it. So. All right, you could give your number 6.
Yeah. For number 6, I actually had this movie turned 50 this year, actually, which is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Maybe not the most like critically acclaimed, but it holds a special place in my heart just because when I was growing up, Matt, you could attest to this. We both really loved Godzilla. We used to watch the movies with the toys, and I always loved Mechagodzilla, and that was kind of my introduction to him.
That was like your go-to of the kaiju
for
some reason.
I don't know why, but I love him. I love all the kaiju movies. So,
All right. So number 5 for me, I had also one that just turned 50 this year, The Godfather Part 2. This is one that's neck and neck with the original for me. But it basically is a prequel and a sequel to the original at the same time.
Doesn't some of it take place in Italy?
Yeah, there's bits that take place in Italy. Really, really great story, great performances, especially from Al Pacino. It really stuck out like how amazing he was.
Yeah.
And this had a young Robert De Niro in it as well. It's The Godfather. Like what? I can't really say much else on it. So.
Yeah. For me, for number 5, I actually had a movie I saw this year, A Space Odyssey, which you recommended, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, just watching it, it's crazy to believe that movie came out more than 50 years ago. It came out in the 60s, so what?
Yeah. Almost probably 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what year.
Just on a technical level with like the sets and there's so many. You could see how much like sci-fi is pulled from this movie. It's like I feel like it's one of the pillars that a lot of any sci-fi movie kind of inspires itself from.
Definitely.
But
yeah. And yeah, in 4th place, I just mentioned this one though, The Godfather, the original. I think it's slightly better, just because of that Marlon Brando performance in there. But yeah, this is another one. It's like on the pillars of filmmaking. Like when you think about some of the greatest films ever made, The Godfather is always mentioned. Not the biggest fan of the mafia movies, but it's hard to deny like how influential and how massive.
Yeah, that's why I've kind of never seen those. One, because I just don't have like 3 hours usually. It's 3.5 hours actually, right? The movie.
The first one is like just under 3 hours. The second one is 3 hours and 20.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of mob movies, so I just never really had a desire to watch. I mean, eventually I will, but
yeah. No, I would say start with Goodfellas, then do A Bronx Tale, and then work your way.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right. What was 4 for you?
4 for me was actually The Exorcist. This is another one where it was kind of my introduction to horror. The Exorcist is probably one of the first horror movies I remember watching as a kid. Specifically because our mom mentioned it a lot as she was scared of it when she was a kid. And obviously it's really iconic for all the things that happened on set and how many other movies. Now we're talking about it that there's 2 Exorcist movies with the same actor coming out this year
Yeah.
with what's his
The
name?
Pope. Well, the Pope's Exorcist
The
was
Pope's
last year,
Exorcist. Yeah,
and then The Exorcism,
The Exorcism.
both starring Russell Crowe. That comes
So
out in like 2 weeks.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So my number 3, I also had The Exorcist. Yeah, like you said, we actually talked about it on an episode. One of probably the scariest movies of all time to the general public. I mean, to me, I didn't find it that scary. I know it probably
at
was
the
a
time
lot
when it came out,
scarier
probably
at the
was, yeah.
time. And just like a very, very well made film, aside from the horror elements that I like so much.
Yeah.
And any exorcism movie that comes out nowadays, you can tell like they're all just living in the shadow of The Exorcist. But yeah, I always find just like that behind the scenes stuff so interesting with what happened with making this movie, and it makes the movie that much scarier just knowing all that.
All the stuff that I know.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the new one with Mike Flanagan?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll see what they end up doing because the Exorcist Believer, which I enjoyed, that clearly went like a
Different
legacy
direction.
sequel kind of way where they wanted to bring back, I forgot her name, but the main mother, and I think the plan was to bring back Regan eventually.
Probably.
She
There was a
wasn't in that
trilogy
movie.
originally planned, right? Yeah.
So I wonder if he's gonna do some sort of legacy sequel or if it's just gonna be like its own separate thing. But I feel like since they paid that much money for the IP, they have to do something that's connected in some way.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What was your 3?
3, I had Jaws, which another one that not from my mom, but my dad. I remember telling us about how that was one of the movies that he was. A lot of the older movies that I've seen tend to be horror because that's like what I gravitated towards when I was younger. So my dad said this movie used to scare him so much he wouldn't even go in the ocean. I remember he said he wouldn't go in the. He was scared to like go to the bathroom that there would be a shark in the toilet. I don't know if you ever heard that.
No,
But,
I think he said when he was like a baby.
Yeah. But obviously a really classic movie.
Yeah, this like changed the world, honestly. This movie. It just made people scared of the beach,
Of sharks too, I feel like in general.
I mean, sharks are just a scary creature in general, but Jaws is definitely one that I want to recheck out because it just missed the cut for me. I have it as a 3.5 on Letterboxd, but I feel like if I rewatched it, I definitely would rate it higher than that.
Yeah.
Also, Jaws has like a huge cultural significance, and it's always like referenced in other movies. Like that theme song is so iconic.
It was referenced in the new Fortnite season. In the trailer, they have that shot of the guy. You know the shot of him in the beach chair, and then like it has.
I didn't watch the trailer, bro. I don't know.
Oh, you didn't? They do a reference to it because there's like a ship coming in, and the guy's in the seat, and it does like that kind of shot where the background kind of goes behind. I don't know what it's called, but whatever. Yeah, it's all even in when I went to Japan, they were selling Jaws like merchandise in places. Like
where we come as a society.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest like what's the word? I don't want to say IP, but like cultural, I guess, significance.
It's one of the biggest movies of all time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about the sequels, but
yeah, I don't really. I'm surprised they haven't really tried to do anything since
it's coming.
I know they. Yeah, probably
it'll come someday. If they have any chance of sniffing making money, it's coming.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 2, my runner-up is 2001: A Space Odyssey. You talked about it already, and we did talk about it on an episode as well.
You liked it a little bit more than I did, I think.
Yeah, just like an insane cinematic experience. It's unlike any other movie I've seen, aside from the sci-fi elements that are mimicked nowadays. Just like the fact that this movie exists in the time that it did, just is like unreal.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing to me is just the fact that it got made when it was made.
Yeah, like the special effect shots are legitimately better than like space shots nowadays.
Yeah, what was it made? Like, what was the budget for the movie?
I don't know. It must have been low. I mean, it's 19, what was it,
Yeah,
68? How much money could they have had? You know?
that's true.
But, you know, Stanley Kubrick is like one of the greatest directors of all time,
Yeah,
obviously. Or I guess I don't know if that's obvious because it's an opinion technically, but
yeah,
he's known as one of the greatest directors of all time.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I'm glad that I checked this one out again because when I first watched it, I was a little younger. I didn't really fully understand a lot of like the filmmaking techniques and like what they were going for. But on the
yeah,
rewatch, I like loved it.
yeah,
So
yeah. What do we at number two?
yep.
Number two, I had the original Godzilla, which obviously is another one of the biggest cultural movies ever made. And I rewatched it recently, and I didn't obviously when you're young you don't pick up on the kind of World War II significance and the ties to
Hmm.
that. I think it's really interesting that despite the fact that it's a direct kind of uh, critique of America dropping the bomb, like it's still such a popular even at the time when it was released, it was a popular franchise in America.
Yeah, that's
No,
really interesting to me as well. This movie like just missed my cut. I had it as
yeah,
like a 4 star, so didn't quite make it.
hmm,
But yeah, it's probably one of like the most important movies ever made, and
yeah,
just like how significant it is to a group of people. Like the fact that Japan made this movie is just like not only did they make this movie, like you said, criticizing the US, but the US just went and like just loved it,
double down on it. Yeah,
Yeah. Commercialized the fuck out of it.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I feel like a lot of if you ask people now. Like if you ask like I'm trying to think like the cop like a normal person in the street like that Godzilla is a reference to America like dropping the bomb. I feel like they wouldn't even know that because it's such like an American. It seems like an American franchise now. It's all over the place in the U.S.
yeah. Yeah, I doubt much of America would know that, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
But all
but
right,
yeah.
I can move on to my favorite, my top of the list here, and it's a movie that just turned 50 this year, and that is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from
That's another one, man.
1974, directed by Tobe Hooper. I've talked about this film before. It's probably, in my opinion, the scariest movie ever made. Just does such a great job of showing that true fear and desperation in a character,
Yeah,
with like that Sally Hardesty ending of her just running and screaming.
hmm,
It's gross. It has an awesome villain in Leatherface, one that is still iconic, and they're still making Texas Chainsaw movies
yeah,
nowadays. And I also really like the behind the scenes in the movie and how it was filmed so low budget, and the conditions on set were like as gross as depicted in the movie, which I
yeah.
think did a
Was it
really
actually filmed in Texas?
yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was a relatively short shoot. Sorry, I
Yeah,
just couldn't speak for a second, but yeah, I love looking into the behind the scenes of how the movie was made. If you have any like spare time to look at it, it's very
yeah.
interesting. Um, but yeah, it kind of sucks that that recent one wasn't
I heard
as
it was pretty
great.
bad. Yeah,
I personally liked it, but I don't think they're gonna continue it with that particular
yeah.
direction.
Probably not.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So for me, for number one, you mentioned it earlier, but uh, The Sound of Music for me is probably my favorite movie that I've seen that's come out in the last 50 years. Just the cultural significance. I think my favorite musical ever made. The shots in the movie were like amazing for the time, specifically the one of with the mountains in the background. And I just think it hits on a lot of levels. Like the story's really good, the music's amazing, the shots are really good.
yeah. No, I mentioned it before. Yeah, um, that's a solid
And
number
obviously,
one.
me going there is I have a little favoritism for it.
Yeah, I remember really us both really loving that movie when we talked about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Have
was
they
a good.
ever like done like any type of sequel? Not sequel, but like I don't know why it's a sequel, remake of it or anything like that.
I feel like there must have been an attempt. Maybe it was on Broadway at some point.
Yeah, let me see remake.
me see if I go to like
Oh, they had one
Sony.
on television with Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, The Sound of Music live. Carrie Underwood. That looks terrible.
Yeah.
Um,
So she's supposed to be like an Austrian girl. It's Carrie Underwood. That's mad funny.
yeah.
She
All
just
right.
like looks so out of place in the
Yeah,
picture.
no, that's an insane poster. Uh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
a fun list. I
Yeah.
thought I had a pretty good idea for that one.
Yeah.
You got to get your movies up though from pre 1974.
Yeah. No. No, I know.
You should watch the. I'm surprised you didn't have like any of the original Universal monster.
Honestly, I didn't even think about that. There's a lot of movies I don't have logged on Letterboxd. Like I've obviously seen all those, but I just didn't even. I don't know. I didn't think.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
all right.
why. When I looked up the Sound of Music remake, they just keep having like AI images of The Rock playing guitar with like that background. I don't know why. It's mad funny.
They're just fucking with me at this point. They know I love The Rock.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you? The sound of if you look up on Google, that's
I
what's
just looked
coming
up
up.
the Sound of Music remake, and like the fourth image is an AI image with like The Rock playing a guitar. It says the Sound of Music remake featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Oh my god, dude, that's so weird.
You should post that on Instagram.
No thanks. Um,
That's like all that's on. Like you know how many things I see. It's like some I don't know. It would be like some old movie like part two, and it's just like an AI image of like the actors.
yeah, and then people on Facebook are just like retweeting it, like, can't wait
Yeah,
for this to come out. It's crazy how people like still fall for that shit nowadays. When like
yeah,
we had fake trailers coming out when we were like 10 that we fell for,
yeah.
and this like looks even more
Even
fake,
worse. Yeah,
and people are falling for it. But anyways, all right,
yeah,
maybe we can move on now to the final movie of the day. It was your rec, so I'll
yeah.
let you do the honors here.
So I recommended Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Matt, the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live. Um, so it's the first Harry Potter movie. Matt is a pretty big fan of Harry Potter. I'm like kind of whatever about it. I've never really, I know some basic stuff, but I never really loved it as much as Matt. So for me to watch, this is kind of like not the first time, but a refresher for me. And I honestly really liked it. It's good, the movie. The child actors do a really great job. The story's good. All the characters are likable. I mean, Matt, how did you
Yeah,
feel? I know you've
I
probably seen
mean,
this movie a lot more than I have.
yeah, it sets up a lot, and for a first movie, it's pretty great. I mean, they just like completely nailed the casting. Every single character is like so perfectly cast and so iconic
Yeah,
in their role. From like Hagrid to all three of the main ones, even to like each professor. Even the Dumbledore is really good, but this actor ended up passing after the third movie, so he got replaced. But yeah, I really liked it.
yeah,
It's funny coming back because I watched Deathly Hallows probably most recently, which is like the last one, and those are like adult movies. They're made for
yeah,
like there's a lot of action. Like all the characters are adults, and these are like literal kids, like children running around and like doing all this shit. It's kind of funny to go back to. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, going more into that, the movie is really for children. Like there's
Yeah,
some
no.
adult elements in it, but not really.
It's like
Like
a
you're
child fantasy. Almost like
yeah,
a Percy Jackson kind of vibe.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean the story itself, it's not like the greatest. It just follows, Harry finding out that he's a wizard because he never knew because his parents died and he had to live with his mom's sister. They comically abuse him.
Yeah, it's like
Like
he lives under the steps. Like it's like so
yeah,
over the top.
it's
It's funny though. I like it. Like I think it's
yeah.
funny.
It definitely has like a charm to it. I do really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, one thing that I really appreciate is like they don't hold back at all from like the wizard shit. Like the movie starts and it's like a
Oh yeah.
giant wizard with a white beard and he's like sucking the light out of these lampposts. Then a
The
cat just like
pulls
turns
out
into a
the
lady,
yeah.
and then Hagrid flies in on like a flying motorbike.
And they're
They just
all
like
wearing like the wizard, like the
yeah.
classic wizard look, kind of with the
They
hat and everything.
I feel like some like a mistake that movies, especially around this time, made is that they would take some sort of IP and try to like modernize it and make it for, an audience, like to make it look cooler, for instance. Like the X-Men, like those goofy costumes, they made them wear black leather instead. This, they just like didn't give a fuck. They were like, we're gonna do all the goofy shit.
But
it
works.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they did that. Another thing I want to mention is like when we think of Hogwarts and when we think of, Diagon Alley and all like the look of the world, like we think of the movies and it's so iconic. But thinking back to like when they made this, they just had like words to go off of, and they like really nailed it. I think just how everything looks, from the creatures to the castle to Quidditch, like the Quidditch pitch. Everything just, there wasn't really anything that, because I also read the books when I was younger. I don't remember them that much, but I definitely remember the earlier ones more. But yeah, to do all that in like a 2.5 hour starting movie is pretty impressive.
Yeah. How did it do fun? And I'm assuming it did really well, the first movie.
Yeah, all of them did really well. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think the first movie may have came out before the last book was released. I don't know if that's true.
Possible.
Let me look it up. Because it came out in 2001, right?
I feel like you're right.
Let me look it up.
I feel like they weren't like they released like 2 or 3 books while the movie was
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows book was released in 2007. That's pretty crazy. Dude, so I was 6. I feel like I remember that book coming out. Was I like reading at 6? Definitely not Harry Potter at 6.
No.
But
maybe you saw some at like Barnes and Noble or something.
Yeah. But no, they just like completely nailed basically like aside from whatever the script of the movie and like, the story and whatever happens, like every element of this Harry Potter world, they just completely nailed. The casting, the look, the music.
Yeah.
Just like completely perfect.
It was great.
And I love that score. It's like
probably it's really iconic.
Yeah, and not just like that main theme. There are some other like
I recognize a lot of the scores during the movie. Yeah. Like I didn't realize how memorable they were.
So there's like a lot of other things that tease towards later films, like in the beginning when Harry talks to the snake. That's like something that becomes really important later on down the line that they just kind of briefly touch on here. Voldemort himself, he's in this movie, but he has to. So basically, what happened is when Voldemort used the spell,
better than I would,
when he used the spell on Harry, Harry survived, and then it deflected back and like hit him, but he somehow survived as well. But it's explained later on how he survived, but I won't get into it now. So the only way for him to like live is to have another being that he like feeds onto. Yeah. And it's just like the most goofy. It's like this guy wearing a giant turban, then he takes it off, and there's like another face on the back of his head being.
It's kind of like from what's that horror movie?
Malignant.
Malignant.
Yeah, it is really similar to that. But yeah, Voldemort is, I think, one of the episodes we did like our top 10 favorite villains.
Yeah, you mentioned him.
He's like, you'll see when the movies go along, but the fact that they build him up you see he's in the first movie, and he's still the villain at the end of the 7th.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Thanos type where they build him up.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was fine in this. I think Professor Quirrell is one of the weaker villains of the movie.
Yeah, he's kind of like comedic.
I mean, not of the movie, but of the series.
Of the series. I like he's like, "Come here, Potter." Like he just screams at him in the fire.
Yeah,
he's like very over exaggerated. Some of his,
Yeah, and it's funny because like all these people are like beefing with a literal like.
They're like fucking 11, like 10-year-olds. They're mad tiny. That's funny. Snape's really cool too, honestly.
Yeah, Snape is my favorite character in this movie and also like in the series as well.
Yeah.
He's just like, his line delivery is so great. Alan Rickman as Snape. It's just like, he's hysterical when he delivers lines. Just the way he talks is so
Yeah.
funny, and that's why I wonder like who's gonna get cast in the show and like if they're even gonna be able to come close to his performance, or
You
if they're
think
gonna
they?
just do something different.
You think they would cast the guy who played Draco Malfoy as Snape?
No,
You
he
think?
wouldn't be able to do it.
You don't think so? Actually, yeah,
And
he didn't really do. He was on like The Flash after that.
yeah, he never really.
I feel like.
And he was in
I
Planet of the
didn't.
Apes. Caesar
Oh
said
yeah,
no
you're
to him.
right. You're right.
Um,
Damn.
Caesar got tight at him. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of them haven't really.
I
Like, what
mean,
if it
obviously, the standouts probably Emma Watson.
Radcliffe? I
Probably
mean,
Emma
Radcliffe just
Watson.
won a Tony.
Yeah, that Radcliffe's a close second, but Emma Watson, she was in Little Woman. You know, she was in Beauty and the
Yeah.
Beast.
What is she doing now? I feel like she doesn't really.
I don't think she's been in a movie in a while.
Yeah.
Let me check on Letterboxd, see like her most recent. But yeah, a lot of them had that sort of Harry Potter fatigue, where after they played this character, it kind of
They never
they
really
kind of
found themselves.
yeah
Like Ron Weasley's actor. I don't think he's in.
yeah he hasn't been in much.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold on.
There's a rumor Radcliffe's going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, it's like a Wolverine variant.
It's like Son or something, or Pat, or like another variant of him. I don't know.
Yeah, the last thing Emma Watson was in was Little Woman in 2019. So
Probably just chilling. Honestly, yeah, if I was an actor, I'd fucking do a movie and like chill for like a
yeah,
year.
bro, they all get residuals for this, for not only the movie but like the theme parks, like all the shit, bro. It's actually
Oh
like
yeah,
insane.
she's probably fucking. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, let me see. I like how the magic works in the world. Like nothing is too explicitly explained.
Plain, yeah.
Like things kind of just happen, and they're just like
Just like magic.
yeah, like the owls like dropping the letters into the house, like a million letters just fly around everywhere. I like how like goofy it is, and it's not like you have to do a specific spell for that to happen. It's just kind of like, all right, magic, like
yeah, like it's just you're dealing with wizards and shit, so it's just kind of.
Yeah, it is mad funny though. Like, I kind of just never realized like how insane the beginning is with, like they get all these letters and then the father's like, all right, we're getting out of here, and just like rows out to a random house from on a boat, like in the middle of an island.
Yeah,
just like chilling there. Like, what the fuck? It's so weird. But
I like that they give his cousin the tail. I thought that was funny.
Dudley.
What happened? So like in the next one, when he like they're just still dicks to him and shit. Like,
yeah, you'll see what happens. But he does end up going back home. Yeah, they're still dicks to him. It does like get to a boiling point eventually because he becomes not like a kid anymore. Yeah. Dudley actually has a crazy story arc though.
Really?
He kind of
Is he still like a dick the whole time or?
Nah, he like kind of turns around by the end, but I won't say too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story of Harry Potter himself is like it is kind of like a chosen one story
like
in a
Skywalker kind of.
Yeah, where he is the one. He's the boy who lived, so he's supposed to be the one who's gonna destroy evil. And
it's almost like a Paul Atreides kind of where they've all heard about him and he's there and he's just kind of.
Yeah, there's definitely similarities. Yeah, because everyone knows him because he's literally the only person to ever survive the killing curse.
Yeah.
It is. I kind of like how there's these forbidden curses that you get sent to wizard jail if you do. Like Avada Kedavra is the.
Isn't that the killing one?
Yeah, so like you can't do that.
Yeah, I like all like the rules of like wizard society and like how they're supposed to follow. I think that's really interesting. How they have like a whole kind of a way that this world works for wizards and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's two other curses that you're not allowed to use. One of them is Crucio, which is just like torture. Like you just do it to someone and they get tortured. Yeah. And then there's another one, I forget what it's called, but it's like a mind control spell. It's like you'd be able to force people to do things. I mean, if Wizards was real, like everyone would be murdering each other. I feel like. It's like it's so easy. Like, and you actually just can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm curious why they've never because with all the Harry Potter, with the TV show, and they obviously did like the Fantastic Beasts. Like, why didn't they ever try to do like a story about a kid in like another school? I feel like that's such an interesting idea. Like they could have done one
Actually,
in like I don't know, like China or Japan, like somewhere in Asia. They could have one done
in
in yes.
Hogwarts Legacy, there is like a character that transferred from another school that's in the game. It's like a decently big character. There
Oh
also
really?
is in the fourth movie. They get visited by other schools. They all
Are they
come
from
together
England though?
for.
Or they're from like
I forget where they're from. I think one of them's from France.
that's
And
cool.
one of them's from like Bulgaria or something. Um,
Oh yeah. Don't they ever mention like one of the characters' brothers like studying dragons there or something?
yeah, Romania,
Yeah.
Ron's brother. Um, but yeah, a lot of the movie is kind of just like it is like storybook fantasy. I was especially thinking that during like the chess scene when they're doing
Yeah.
those trials and Ron's like riding a giant horse and he's like bishop to g5 or like whatever. It was just like
Yeah.
so goofy. Um,
Hermione's really funny too, honestly.
yeah, her character. She has like a lot of iconic lines.
Yeah, like when she slammed the book on the wall, that was mad funny. I forgot the context of the scene, but it was just the
Oh,
way
it's
it happened
her.
was mad
She's
funny.
talking about the Philosopher's Stone, and she's like doing research on. She finds out this guy named Nicholas Flamel was like the inventor of it. But like Harry and Ron are reading like these little books, and she like comes and slams a giant book on the table. But yeah, she has like one of her iconic lines in the movie is like, "Oh, we could get killed or worse, expelled." And then it's
Oh
just like
yeah,
perfectly like encapsulates her
yeah,
character.
yeah.
And then Ron's just like, she's got to get her priorities straight. Um, but yeah, there's just like such a fun charm to this movie. Like
Yeah.
watching these kids act, it's just like,
And they're great, honestly. They are
yeah.
really good, and it's hard because they're the leads of the movie.
hmm
So
And yeah, I don't know. Once you finish these movies, you definitely should watch. I forgot if I mentioned this to you, but there's a
the making of it.
documentary on HBO Max. It's like 20 years after all the actors come back, do interviews, and they like go through each movie, say
Mhm.
how it was made, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
Just very interesting. They talk about the casting call for the three roles, and it was like the casting call for Harry. They said it was like one of the most insane because
yeah,
they wanted an unknown. So they just said, "All right, if you think you could play Harry, just pull up." And there was like thousands and thousands of people.
yeah.
Um, and
I
then
feel like they're gonna do something similar for the show.
yeah, they ended up like screen testing the three together, and they just knew. Um,
Yeah, interesting.
so
Did they
yeah,
have like I'm curious what they're gonna do with the new one. Like if they're gonna I feel like they're not gonna change the race of the characters. I don't think they
no,
should.
I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
curious to what I feel like
I
because
was
J.K.
thinking that
Rowling's
too.
involved, he's gonna not like not, I
But
don't know.
also,
Like I
like,
feel like
they shouldn't be different races because, like, they're all
no,
British. Like, they're,
yeah. This
not
takes
that
place
there's
in
only,
London.
yeah, not that there's like only white British people, but also they're like pretty, especially Ron, like his orange hair.
Yeah, they're pretty
Harry is
distinct.
described as like having blue, his mother's eyes, and
Yeah.
Hermione's the only one that I could see them maybe
Is
doing
it ever
something. But
specified like what she?
I mean, it says what she looks like, yeah, but that hasn't stopped Hollywood before
Yeah,
from, but we'll see.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know, but
yeah,
I'm interested what they're gonna do with the show.
yeah. Like we mentioned though, how there's two titles for the movie: Philosophers and Sorcerer's Stone. The Sorcerer's Stone is the U.S. release. I think they wanted to kind of um like push on this fact that it is about like wizards, so they wanted to put Sorcerer in the title. That's just like my theory. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
actually true, but it's interesting because we watched the movie and when they talk about the stone, they say Sorcerer's Stone. But I know that when they filmed it, they would do that same scene, but do two takes. One time say sorcerer, one time say philosopher. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they didn't just like choose one for the movie release, and they did
yeah.
both.
It is
Um,
interesting.
yeah. Let's see. I did have a couple other notes I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I know after you mentioned to me that you didn't understand why like Harry's hands like burned Professor Quirrell.
Oh, I found out why. I figured it out.
Yeah, it after Dumbledore says like it's because of the spell of protection that his mom placed on him when she was killed. That's what did it.
Yeah,
Mm.
But
Excuse me. Sorry, I was drinking some water. But
there you go.
is that necessarily like the best writing? Probably not.
No.
There was a scene that was very funny though during that part. Is like Harry's trying to like grab the stone, and for some reason Professor Quirrell is like choking him. Like you literally have a wand and magic. Why are you choking him? It makes no sense. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
that
I just
like
thought that was
final
kind of funny.
battle was a little goofy.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it was goofy, but it was kind of like anticlimactic how it just like he just kind of burns his face.
Yeah.
But he's also like a kid that doesn't really know any magic, so like what can he really do?
No, yeah.
Um. But yeah, I feel like my main takeaway from this movie is like how impressed I am with Christopher Columbus for being able to like direct all these kids and for it to like turn out as good as it did.
He was originally actually attached. I think he was attached to the FNAF movie
Yeah, he was. He
at
was
one
the
point.
first director that was going to do it. His FNAF had potential.
Oh yeah, I definitely could have seen them. It fits the vibe of the movie that came out and like the kind of whimsical. It wasn't really scary. Like with
Yeah.
the little girl, it was kind of like her being friends with him. So I could have seen them doing that.
hmm
Yeah, but
Um. Yeah. Is there any like questions you have about the lore or anything that I can answer
I
for
mean,
you?
not yet. I feel like as the movies go on, I'm gonna have more questions. 'Cause there's
Yeah.
no like really. You just know that guy. You just know like Voldemort's bad, and that's really it. They don't really explain like why he wants to kill him or like the history
Yeah.
between them. Really, so I don't really have any questions yet. I know
It
obviously
goes like
Voldemort killed his parents.
yeah. It goes like way into that. Um. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Overall though, I mean, what did you think
I
revisiting it?
enjoyed it. I honestly, I see the appeal. I understand why people like it a lot.
Did
The
you
lore is
have
like
a
the world building is really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot, just like how they explain, like we talked about a little bit, just like how wizards operate. It's just kind of like casual,
Yeah,
and
like little
all like
stuff.
everything's cool. Yeah, like how they have owl post. It's not like really
Yeah,
explained too well. It's not like, oh, how does the owl know where to go? And like
yeah.
it's just like, nah, it doesn't
Even
matter.
like the
It's magic.
foods, like the magic frog, like the chocolate frog, and like the
Yeah,
everything, like the little stuff like that. Like it's not explained why the frog is able to move around and stuff,
yeah.
but it's cool.
Mhm. Did you have like a particular scene that you really liked?
Um, I mean, I liked when he first went into Diagon Alley. I feel like that was a really cool set piece when they like kind of zoom up and you see like the buildings and stuff like that.
hmm
And it's first kind of his introduction to the wizard world per se.
Yeah. Also, that scene where he gets his wand.
Yeah,
It's always
that's
kind of
obviously a really famous scene.
it's kind of funny to me, like just the sort of slapstick elements of it. Like he just makes it explode and like the
Yeah,
drawers like fly open a bunch. I always thought that was funny. Um, but yeah, honestly, a scene that sticks out to me a lot is when they go into well, I feel like the first meeting of the trio is a really iconic one, where it just sort of like perfectly introduces what each character is about, especially with Ron and Hermione's first like interaction,
yeah,
where she's like, "And you are," and she has like that just her line delivery where she's like, "Pleasure," like to me,
yeah.
it was just so funny. And she says he has the dirt on his nose and stuff. That's like one that sticks out. I also really like the Forbidden Forest scene with the
Do they?
unicorn
Yeah, I
blood.
was actually. Do they explore that more? That was kind of interesting to me
The forest, yeah. The next movie, they actually go into the forest a bit more.
about
Um,
like the creatures and what lives in the
yeah.
forest.
Yeah. There's definitely more going on there. But yeah, the next movie, you'll see. So yeah, you think you're gonna stick it out and watch the rest?
I mean, I want to try to. I know that where I'm staying in London is like very close to like the scenes that they filmed in that train station is like very close to where I'm staying in London. So like I'll be able
hmm
to see they have like a little photo op with the 9 3/4.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
feel
sure
like
if I'm
you'll
doing the experience. They have like the Harry Potter experience. So.
yeah. I feel like you'll get sucked into the films though if you start. Really are good. Like this is probably as much as I'm praising it and I like it, it's probably my least favorite. Or like one of my
Really?
least favorite. Yeah.
No, I was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. They it's like one of the most consistently great film series ever.
Yeah.
So,
What did you rate it?
or wait, I guess favorite characters. Quick, I did Snape,
Oh,
but I
um,
said Snape was mine. I don't know.
I picked Hermione. I thought
All
she
right,
was really funny.
fair enough. Yeah, she's really good. But
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly, all three. Yeah, I can't talk about that enough. Like the three, all the child actors are like fantastic in this.
yeah, it's pretty wild. All
Yeah.
right, yeah. So I'll get to my rating. I actually gave this a 3.5 star, 7 out of 10. Um, really did enjoy it. It just does have certain flaws with the storytelling, especially the ending.
Ending. Yeah.
Just like there's cool concepts with the riddles, but like that whole entire like like what is it even called that they go through, like
And the
challenges, I guess.
challenges. Yeah.
It doesn't really make much sense. Like how the fuck did Quirrell do all that shit? How did he like fly around and get that key and like do an
Yeah.
entire game of wizard chess?
By himself.
Yeah, I don't know. That ending it didn't make a lot of sense. It brought down the story a bit.
Yeah, but I feel like
Um,
as like you said, as they go on, they get more serious. Like I'm assuming
yeah,
they don't pull shit like that in the last movie.
no, dude, like people like fucking die and like it gets like insane.
Dark. Yeah.
Yeah, but
What is Voldemort's goal? Like he wants to take over Hogwarts, or he just wants to kill Harry?
well, he sees Harry as kind of like his one failure of he wasn't able to kill him. He
So
was
he
just
just
like an
wants
evil. He's basically like just an evil dark
wizard.
wizard.
Yeah.
He's just like evil. They explain his backstory though, like his history in other movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, his main goal is to kill Harry because then he feels like once he kills Harry, he has like no equal that's gonna stand in his way, kind of thing.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
yeah. So yeah, wait. Just to get back to my rating, I want to
Yeah.
justify this 3.5 a little because I know I was like saying I really liked it, but yeah, just some plot holes. Not that it's that much of a complaint, but some of like the CGI was a bit shoddy, which it's alright for the time.
Yeah.
And yes, the child actors do their best. They do really good, but not all of them are perfect, and I think that stands out a little.
Who in particular? Just curious.
Um, I felt like the side characters, aside from the main three, I didn't think Draco was that good in this movie.
Yeah, he's kind
I
of
thought
like
his
I don't know. I want to say he's over acting, but it's a little too snob. I feel like
yeah,
he's
exactly.
also a kid.
Just
I'm
like
not trying to fucking
yeah, no, like it's if anything, it would be the casting director's like fault, not the kids'
yeah,
fault, because
yeah,
they're kids, you
yeah,
know. But yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. Very solid,
yeah,
but doesn't reach the heights as like some of the other movies for me did.
yeah. Same thing. I honestly had it as a 4 star until like the last like 30 minutes kind of lost me. It got a little bit cheesy, but overall, still really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to the other movies.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like you're gonna get sucked in by the time like the fourth movie ends, you're gonna be like, bro,
Yeah.
like what the fuck is about to happen?
Yeah.
So,
Before we
all
wrap
right.
up, though, I know you wanted to talk about The Boys because we both watched the first 3 episodes,
Oh yeah, I
and
forgot about that.
we watched the first episode of House of the Dragon,
All right,
which
yeah, we can talk about The Boys really quick.
yeah,
So, all right, yeah, so season 4, the first 3 episodes dropped.
honestly,
And it
I
basically
really
takes
like it so far.
yeah, I think it's good so far. I think some of the commentary I thought was a little bit over the top,
Yeah,
just compared to like how subtle it was in previous seasons. But I still do enjoy it, and I enjoy what it's saying. I do think it's funny, like the whole like anti-vax, like that. I forgot that character's name.
oh,
Um,
Firecracker,
yeah, no, is that it? Firecracker?
the chick,
Yeah,
yeah, the girl with the red hair, like the USA
I feel
looking
like
girl.
that's not it. You might
Yeah,
be
it's
right though.
Firecracker.
I feel like you're wrong. Let me see.
All right, we'll see.
Wait, is it actually Firecracker?
Yeah, that's her name. She's supposed to
It's
be a
such a
riff on
weird
like
name.
on
Okay, sorry.
Jubilee, like with
You're right.
like how she shoots fireworks.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. For some reason
Don't ever doubt me again. No, I'm just kidding.
that name didn't sound right. But yeah, just like her character, like with the shit she makes fun of, where she's kind of like an Alex Jones type.
Yeah,
Like she has
that's the best way to put her. She's basically just
this
like Alex
truth
Jones.
podcast where she's like, "Oh, vaccines give you autism," and
They're
um,
making
they're making.
a baby delivery system or whatever the hell she said.
She's like, they're forcing people to become trans, and yeah, there's like this absurd line that she has where she's saying like Starlight is sex trafficking kids through like a fake um like food service, and she's like, if you order a hot dog you get a little boy, if you order a taco you get a little girl, and it's like if you get the combo you get a little boy that they forced to turn trans. It's like so
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I did kind of find it funny, but I feel like it's a little bit too in your face at points.
Fair.
But yeah, I still think overall, like what it's going for in the humor hits.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'd like that they also said next season is going to be the last season. You can kind of tell like where the like Butcher's going. This is like after this season, that's it, which I feel like is a good thing.
I think he might die at the end of this season. Honestly, they're really like pushing it, like he's gonna die soon.
I feel like he's gonna die, but I don't think he's gonna. There's no way he's not gonna die in the last season. I don't feel like they wouldn't do season 5 without him.
They said he has like 6 months to live.
Yeah.
So do you think from now until the end of season 5 is only gonna be 6 months time pass?
Yeah. They're gonna. I'm telling you, or they're gonna find some way that he can live a little longer or something. There's no way they're gonna do season 5 without Butcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of what's going on now is kind of like just treading water. Like, what are they even doing at this point? Like, they're trying to kill Homelander, right? But
yeah,
like, I just feel like, bro, it's like 4 seasons in. Like, what is even, like, what are we even doing? They gotta.
Well,
they're trying
to kill. Well, they have to win the election, and like try to make superheroes illegal. But Victoria Newman, like, she's the vice president, and she's a soup. So like, it's like a kind of about that, and then Homelander's just kind of making like a. You can kind of see they're playing. Like, soups are kind of separating themselves from regular people and starting to like treat regular people like lesser. I kind of feel like they're gonna start to get like an emperor Homelander kind of vibe where he just wants to take over the world.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was really one of my favorite parts so far was what they did where they like beat the fuck out of those Homelander supporters and then like plant them.
Oh yeah, and they like blame them on the.
That was like a perfect display of Sister Sage's powers. Like
she's honestly
thinking of that.
She's a standout of this season to me. I really like her character.
Yeah,
specifically when
she's just the smartest person in the world. That's her.
Yeah,
power.
she's kind of like a Lex Luthor, Professor X kind of, but she's just like intelligent. That's her power. But her, like, she's the only person that's honest with Homelander, because like Homelander is just kind of surrounded by yes men. So when she like interacts with him, the scenes are really good because like Homelander obviously doesn't take criticism well.
Yeah,
but he knows she's right because she's literally like the smartest person.
At the end of episode 3, why do you think she hooks up with the Deep?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but on the table there's like a bloody kind of.
Yeah, what was that? It was like a bloody.
She gave. Something. I'm assuming she gave herself some type of lobotomy to make her like stupider for a little bit. That's why she's kind of like she's not really talking smart. Like she's like, you know. So I think it's implied she gave herself a lobotomy, like to kind of make her dumb for a bit, to chill out, and then like I guess she'll heal.
Yeah, just so she can like do that without having a conscience of, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like there was some sort of ulterior motive, but I just couldn't think of what it would be.
Maybe. I mean, that's what I thought, at least.
Yeah.
Because she thinks he's like all the other scenes that they interact with each other. Like she thinks he's an idiot.
Yeah. Where do you think they're going with Homelander's son? I feel like
he's gonna kill Homelander.
I feel like he has to switch to the good side, but also I feel like that would be too obvious.
He's gonna. I feel like because he's starting to tell that Homelander's like nuts. Like when he killed that guy, he obviously felt remorse, and Homelander's like, "Why? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you?"
Yeah.
Like he doesn't understand, and it's creating a rift between them. And eventually, I feel like he's just gonna see how nuts he is, because he's probably the only person that could kill Homelander.
Yeah, eventually, if he like trains up.
Yeah,
But
but
wait, so I know they mentioned like he's the first ever like natural
natural
born
born, yeah,
hero. So
superhero.
what about other heroes that had kids? They didn't have powers.
They don't have powers.
Interesting.
They use them either like they just get them through Gen V. Like I mean not Gen V through
Compound V.
Compound V.
Also, I forget if Giancarlo Esposito's character is still alive.
I think he's in jail.
I forgot what happened with him at the end of
He got
season 3.
arrested. If Victoria Newman got him arrested.
All right, so he'll probably show up then if he's still alive. But
He could have. I mean, I don't know. I know he's in jail, but I don't know. Like,
yeah, no. Overall, very positive thoughts. I do like the new heroes they added.
yeah,
Yeah, that other like character that could he's kind of like Multiple Man from the X-Men.
yeah,
He was funny.
yeah.
With,
No,
like,
that seems funny.
that scene was funny. Yeah, it's one of those like over the top, the boys
Scenes that they're kind of
moments.
famous for. Yeah,
Yeah, I won't say it in case anyone wants to
yeah.
be surprised, but I think you could
Yeah.
tell where it's going.
Yeah.
Multiple Man, you know. All right. Anyways, overall positive, I would
Yeah.
say. So, yeah, and then maybe we could talk about episode 1 of House of the Dragon.
House
Season
of the
2
Dragon.
came out last night. I think it was a solid episode. I like how they had the
Yeah.
Starks. That like them actually showing the Starks and how
I agree. Yeah, I thought,
Rhaenyra's son, right? That was Rhaenyra's son.
yeah, Rhaenyra's son.
He's trying to like recruit them to her side, just like exploring more of the world. You know,
Yeah,
seeing what they were up to during that time period was
Yeah.
cool. So there
I
was
was
this
actually-
whole build up. You
Oh.
said to like Blood and Cheese. It's called.
yeah.
I didn't think it was that crazy, especially since it was being compared to like the Red Wedding. I don't think it's even close to that.
I feel like it's just more of like it's in terms of like shock value, not actual. Because in the Red Wedding, they just straight up like I remember they like kill his pregnant wife in front of him, like with the arrows and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, this is something in secret that they do like in the middle of the night. So I think it's more of like the political shock in terms of like they killed the heir to the throne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only problem is like we have no connection to that baby. Besides like
Yeah,
yes, it's a baby, like we feel bad. Like any normal person does not want a baby to
Yeah.
die.
I had a feeling it was going to be him because they had a lot of scenes of him earlier with
Yeah, they're just kind of showing how he's innocent, he's cute, he's like this
Cute,
little
yeah.
kid, whatever. But we have no like attachment to him. In the Red
Yeah.
Wedding, we've been following Robb Stark and his wife at the time, like with how she got pregnant and like she has
Yeah.
this baby and all this. And then when she's killed, it's like this crazy shock. But to see this baby die, it's like, yeah, it's a baby. That's terrible. But like, why do I care about this baby? Like, I just met him this episode.
still
You
a
know?
baby. I mean, that doesn't really happen in a lot.
Yeah, no, I know. I also think like they should have showed at least a little bit of it, or like
Nah, I
maybe
figured they weren't gonna.
they didn't show anything. Like I thought maybe they would show him about to
No.
stab him and then cut, but they kind of like cut away from the
It still
entire
gets
thing.
released on HBO though. I feel
Yeah.
like that's why.
No, that's true.
But yeah. I mean, I like it's good. I like that. What's his name? Matt Smith's character is just being an asshole the
Yeah.
whole time because it's his
So-
fault. Yeah, you could explain the context.
I think
behind it.
yeah, no, I think I missed a little bit of it. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but
What?
so what does he exactly ask those two guys to do?
So he tells them to go kill Eamon, like the one that killed.
But does he specifically
son.
say Amen? Or no?
Yes, he says the one with he has one eye, and he brings the guard because he said he's a good fighter, so you need another
Mhm.
person with you. But then they say, "What do we do if we can't find Eamon?" And like it doesn't show you on camera what he says, so they don't know if he said to kill another son or what he said. So they can't find Eamon. So they just want to kill a son.
Yeah.
So they go to kill. They just find what you call it? I forgot her name.
The queen.
The queen, which it's funny because technically Kristen Cole is supposed to be protecting her.
He was probably and he was
Yeah,
fucking.
he was with what's her name? Allison.
Just so I don't get this mixed up, though,
Yeah.
he was with Rhaenyra. at
Yes, he
one point,
was.
Right?
And then like he wanted to run away with her, and she said
Yeah.
no. And ever since then, he like hates her.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that's interesting that they introduced that now she has like this new lover right away.
I
But
had
it
a
makes
feeling it
sense.
was going that. Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be him. But
Nah, they kind of hint at it in the first season.
so if they marry, let's just say, that's not going to make a difference to like any heir, right? It's still her
No,
son
because
that's
her
the
son
king.
is the heir, and now he's gonna have a son, and he would be his son would be the heir to the throne. Well, now he doesn't. So now the next heir would technically be Aemon, his brother, because he doesn't have a son.
So the eye patch guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
but oh,
Um,
yeah, good episode. I mean, I'm definitely more excited to see the repercussions of this, like how it's gonna affect. Because now there's like the I feel like dragons are definitely gonna get involved in the next episodes.
yeah. I wonder if Allison's gonna get in trouble for sleeping with
Probably
what's
what's
his face. It's probably gonna get revealed.
Yeah, I don't think
The
she'll get in trouble for that, but he's probably gonna get in trouble for not being protecting the queen.
Yeah. What is the deal with the queen? Is she like supposed to be slow a little bit or something?
She's supposed to like have visions of the future. That's why like there's a scene of like when they're talking and she said I'm scared. And he's like of the
Mhm.
dragons, she says the rats. But it's her like being scared because it's the rat catcher that comes and kills the sun. So she's
Uh,
supposed to see like visions of the future, but she's just like they're called like
it's too
dragon
foggy.
dreams or something. Yeah.
Interesting. How'd you
Yeah.
know that? Just like
I'd watch
from
like
looking
just
into it.
like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, because I don't remember them ever mentioning anything like that.
yeah.
That is interesting though, because she did like seem like there was something off about her, just the way she talked and how she gave up the sun so easily. She didn't really even
Yeah.
fight. I mean,
Yeah, she's like definitely. They say she's simple. Like she doesn't
yeah,
really. Even when he died, like she's crying and she can't. She said like he's dead.
yeah. It's a good episode though. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll see. I know they said season 3 is definitely happening. So
yeah. But now it's cool because every like 2025 we're gonna get that other Game of Thrones season, the other show,
yeah,
and then
the Seven
2026 we'll get the
Kingdoms.
next House of Dragon. So each year we're
I
gonna
feel
get
like
one.
yeah, I feel like now is a great time for TV. The Boys is going to be releasing weekly.
Yeah,
House of the
yeah. Right now
Dragon,
I was just talking about that. I have The Boys, um,
House of the Dragon,
House of Dragon. I'm watching Acolyte as well, which comes out on Tuesdays.
and then The Bear is coming out.
The
I
Bear. I
know.
don't watch The Bear, but I know it's very popular.
Yeah, I just started. I just finished season 1. I actually really liked it. I think you would
Yeah,
like it. And the episodes are like 30 minutes each.
yeah.
So,
Doesn't it take
um,
place in Chicago?
yeah, yeah. It's basically about this guy who's played by what's his face, Jeremy Allen White,
Yeah.
and he used to be like this really amazing chef at like this amazing restaurant, and his brother owned this smaller kind of shitty restaurant. And then his brother died, and he left the shitty restaurant in his will to Jeremy Allen
Yeah.
White. So he like takes it over, and it's kind of like just goes on from that.
Yeah.
But it's really good
Yeah.
cast. Um, but all right, yeah, let's move on to unless you wanted to have any closing thoughts on House of the Dragon, but
No, I mean, yeah, I like where the season's going. One thing I thought that was interesting, because I was like watching videos about it. Like people were asking questions about like where are White Walkers or like where are they at this point in time.
Mhm.
So the director said at this point, like if the White Walkers like attacked, like the dragons would basically just pull up and obliterate them. Like so, there's no because there's so many dragons. Like that's why they don't attack because they know that they just get like slaughtered.
I thought they weren't even around at this point, though. Weren't they
They're
like?
not like in the numbers that they are in the main, but they exist at this point. They have the wall.
Yeah, it's true. All right.
So it's kind of cool that like this like Civil War is kind of direct cause of the events of Game of Thrones because without the war, there'd be dragons in the if with the dragons they'd be able to defend themselves against the White Walkers.
Yeah. Even though the way that like even 3 dragons should honestly be enough, but
Yeah,
what
they're
happened was
like
like stupid in Game
yeah.
of Thrones.
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't finished it.
yeah.
I mean, I know like the big plot threads that aren't that don't work, but
Yeah, but all
yeah,
right. Yeah, we actually we'll do our quick Q&A. We only have one question this week.
yeah.
I didn't really post the Q&A shit as
Corporate
much as I should have.
mind got us.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So This one's from @EmilyWozneski on Instagram. What is your favorite emotion from each movie, Inside Out 1 and 2? Good question. One, I would...
One, probably either joy or sadness. It's funny it's toss up.
Yeah. Those are the two leads. You gotta pick one.
Probably sadness, honestly. Because that's like,
Yeah.
I feel like joy's easy to pick.
I'm with you on that. I think sadness is really great in the first
I feel like
one.
it's that's a hard role to do, like to have sympathy for a character that's literally sad all the time.
Yeah. How they use her character and, the journey she goes on.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed sadness the most in the first movie. And then the second, I already said I like joy the best.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick what?
Yeah, if I had to choose one of the new ones, I would pick anxiety.
Yeah. I was gonna say anxiety was my favorite, and just the way the way that she thinks in the movie is kind of like I like how it's kind of like her protecting Riley, but like it's such an over dramatic, over the top way.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the question.
Yeah.
I'll try to post more of those question polls because I've just been slacking recently. But yeah, I guess I could recommend my movie now. And I don't know if you have a list, Joe, that you wanted to do next episode or something.
I do.
All right, so what's it called? All right, so us doing this list of films over 50, when I was looking through, I kind of saw one that I was like, wait, how did I not watch this movie? And it is one that I want to talk about, and I've been meaning to watch it. And it is the movie Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
It's another
I've never
one
actually fully seen it. So it's like one of those ones that's just like, you kind of know it if you're a fan of horror, and like the chocolate syrup blood and like
the shower scene.
Yeah, the shower scene and all this stuff. But I've never actually watched the movie in full. So I feel like it'll be interesting to discuss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Honestly, I wonder how I'm gonna view that now. That and Birds is another one that like.
Yeah. Because Alfred Hitchcock he's like known as one of the greatest directors.
Yeah.
Especially of horror. So.
Yeah. From my list with all the TV shows coming out, I thought that we should pick like our top 10. It doesn't have to be live action or animated show. So that includes, like, for me, it's going to include some animes, just because I watch a lot of TV shows like that.
Fair enough. That'll be like a tough one. I gotta really think about that.
Yeah.
But, all right,
I try to get at least. This is a challenge for you. Get some animated ones in there because I feel like you don't watch a lot of animation.
Yeah, I could toss a couple in there, like SpongeBob. SpongeBob on my list.
Yeah, it's a gold series.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, next week. Thanks everyone for listening to episode 50.
Thank you guys.
Episode 51, we'll do Psycho, like I said, and then also The Bike Riders and Kinds of Kindness are both coming out.
And Despicable Me 4.
Despicable Me 4 also, but if we had to choose, because 4 movies in one episode will probably be too much. So
we could like talk. I mean, that movie, I feel like we don't have to get that deep on. We could talk about that for 5 minutes.
No, we could, definitely. But I would definitely, just to be caught up, try to go see Kinds of Kindness and Bike Riders if you can.
It's actually a banger this weekend. That's crazy.
Yeah, they both come out the same day, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening. Please go ahead and give us a like if you're on YouTube, or follow us. Our socials are all in our link tree. We got Instagram, Twitter. We're each on Letterboxd, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Please give us a follow. And thank you again, everyone, for listening.
Yeah. Peace.
Bye.